Labadiena visiems LRT Plus ir portalo LRT žiūrovams. Su jumis sveikinasi Kaunas, Lietuva ir du komentatoriai. Andrius Janušauskas ir mano kolega Valdemaras Petrūnas. Labadiena.
Labas, Andriu.
Fantastiškas savaitgalis prasideda birželio 29-30 dienomis. Čia Kauno marių prieplaukoje vyksta pirmasis tradicinis pasaulio čempionatas Formulės 2 motorinėse valtyse. Smagus, geras, užtikrintas savaitgalis, įvyko pirmosios treniruotės, žinome, kokį tempą rodė Edgaras Repko. Po truputėlį laivai keliami į vandenį ir ruošiamasi pirmosios kvalifikacinės grupės A, B ir C. Tai pirmoji grupė tai bus A. 8 laivai ir jie pabandys pademonstruoti geriausius rato įvykimo laikus. Tik tai 5 geriausiai iš kiekvieno pogrupio keliaus į Q2 etapą, na ir paskui laukia mūsų Q3. Pasižiūrėkime, kas vyko praeitaisiais metais ir praeitąjį sezoną. Fantastiškos akimirkos ir be abejo, ko galima tikėtis šiandien. Edgaras Repko 27 taškais, lygiavosi trečias. Taip pat mūsų ekranuose Ovengel, 77 startinis numeris Tobijas Montekas, greitasis norvegas. Ir taip pat mūsų ekranuose, bent jau trumpai sušmėžavęs ir pasaulio čempionas Alberto Comparato. 37 startinis numeris Hector Sanz ir jo saliutas praeitais metais.
Ispanas.
Net Edgaras Repko žavėjosi jo apsivertimu. Na, apsivertimo netrūko ir per praktinės treniruotės. Štai kaip atrodo pasaulio pirmenybės įvairiausiose pasaulio kampeliuose. Norvegijoje, Didžiojoje Britanijoje, Lietuvoje, taip pat Belgijoje. Tačiau Belgijos etapas praeitais metais buvo atšauktas ir įvyko tik tai 3 įskaitiniai etapai iš 4 planuotų. Alberto Comparato Kaune praeitais metais atrodė būtent taip. Antrosios podimo pakylos džiaugsmingas Edgaras Repko. Alberto Comparato taip pat su mumis, jis jau taip pat prisijungė prie kito piloto ir treniruoja Brentą Dillardą, Jungtinių Amerikos valstijų pilotą, kuris ant savo laivo turi 8 numerį. Mūsų ekranuose 35 startinis numeris, Jungtinių Arabų Emiratų pilotas. Taip pat puikiai pademonstravęs greitį Rašidas Alkamsis, 2017 metų pasaulio čempionas. Po truputėlį vandens Formulės 2 keliamos į vandenį, Kauno marių prieplaukos vandenį. Pavyko sužinoti labai daug įvairiausių detalių patiems pilotams. Šis vanduo tikrai yra palankus, taip pat oro sąlygos puikios, 21 laipsnių šilumos, bent jau dabar tiek pranašauja sinoptikai ir šiuo metu kaip tik ir yra. Kokios nuotaikos pas mano kolegą Valdemarą Petrūną po pirmųjų treniruočių?
Laukimo nuotaikos. Tikėsimės, kad Edgarui pavyks prisijaukinti tą naują motorą. Jis jį apvažinėjo tą motorą, galbūt spėjo, galbūt ne, jis čia ilgai reguliavo ir vietoj ilgai čia reguliavo motorą. Galbūt nori pasiekti maksimą, galbūt koks nors truputį gal ir ne visai gerai dirba. Tuoj viskas paaiškės po pirmo kvalifikacinio plaukimo. O šiaip laisvoje treniruotėje atrodė gana neblogai, išbandė daug visokių variantų, keitė sraigtus ir aplamai atrodė teikiantis vilčių. O žiūrint į visą, žinom, jo įdirbį, jis turi įprotį gerinti laiką, nuosekliai gerinti savo padėtį.
Mūsų ekranuose viena formulė. Jūs galvojate, kas tai yra? Tai yra žiūrovų pramoga, dvivietė vandens Formulė 2, taip pat.
So we go now to the preparations. As you see there in the picture, Duarte Benavente, he's at the wrong boat there. You can see that he's having a bit of a chat with fellow competitors. The rest of them, in fact, you can see Benavente's boat there, boat number 45, just in the background. So, you know, he's an experienced driver, isn't he, John? Benavente, Formula 1 experience, he's still active there. You know, what can he do in F2 this season?
I think his Formula 2 is more for fun. I think his Formula 1 driving he takes probably more seriously. His setup is pretty good, he told me earlier, for this Kaunas event, and he's happy with that.
So, as we see the boats then being craned in, and just to explain the sessions and how it works, there were 26 entries here. Unfortunately, I think we've lost 2 boats in the free practice session. We've lost Kaylee Vippo and we've lost
Mike Salzburger.
Yeah, we have.
The Gordon Cook Racing team, he put a hole through the port hand sponson this morning. We're not entirely sure what he hit, but it must have been fairly substantial because it's been a big impact.
Yeah, he wrecked a propeller as well, didn't he? As we know, propellers not cheap in this sport.
No, it was an expensive morning for the Gordon Cook team.
But not as expensive as Vippo, who ripped the transom clean off the back of the boat. The engine also looked a bit of a mess, but whether that was the cowling or whether there was other substantial damage, I'm not too sure at the moment. But,
yeah, I mean, it happened right outside where we're commentating from here, and you could hear the thud of the Mercury motor just departing. It really was quite scary, but it's great to see that he's absolutely fine. He's back in the pits watching the racing this afternoon.
So we're just watching then a conversation between Root Temp and Edgarus. So they're probably just discussing what groups they're in and their tactics. Maybe they're not discussing the tactics, but in the meantime, some of our VIPs are having the tour around the racecourse just to get a feel of what it's like actually out there in a Grand Prix boat.
Now, have we got Christian Langen's roundup from yesterday coming up, haven't we?
So we'll have a look at some of Friday's action.
Under pressure. Edgaras Ryabko, race organizer and race driver in one person. That means a stressful weekend for the Lithuanian pilots.
A little bit tired, but I have one night today, so tomorrow morning my telephone will be switched off and I will be full concentrate in the race.
So the local hero here in Kaunas is ready for Saturday's qualifying, and he needs to, because he has something to prove at his home race. Being third in 2017, second in 2018, everybody is expecting nothing less than the top spot on the podium this year.
I know this course, I know the weather conditions, so I have good propellers for this water, because all propellers, all testing goes in this course, in this water. So I hope it would help.
Hot and cold. Sometimes it needs more than just prepare boat and engine to be ready in the pits. So Spanish pilot Hector Sanz Lopez is facing the challenge of hot summer temperatures and found a unique solution.
Yes, of course, I make a little solution. One ice cube machine.
Of course, having an ice cube machine in the pits can make the difference at the end. It also helps the Spanish team to get their very own coffee specialty, espresso on the rocks.
In Catalonia have a typical only coffee express, and you make a one glass and ice cubes. Always go to all the Europe, don't find nothing about this, I speak forget, nothing have. Okay, no problem, I get my ice cubes, I'm coming to the paddock. All the people see possibly test.
That being said, first one to try was Sports Commissioner Giacomo Borgonovi. American-Italian connection. American Brent Dillard quite made an impact in his debut season in Formula 2 last year. But now Dillard takes it really serious and teamed up with 2018 Formula 2 world champion Alberto Comparato.
It's really great working with Alberto and his father, Fabio. That's really a plus to work with Fabio. He's one of the hardest workers I've met. He prepares everything for us, top of the line. I mean, it's very professional, and couldn't be happier.
So Dillard already spent a lot of time in Italy testing to be prepared for the opening race, and profits from Comparato's experience.
Yeah, he's a very good driver. He just we focus a lot on Q3 because I like a lot that part, and he was not so good at that, so we tried the best to make him better on that part.
So now it's up to Dillard, bringing it all together here in Kaunas and also having the overall championship in mind. Abu Dhabi unbeatable. How strong is Team Abu Dhabi with 2017 world champion Rashid Al-Khamzi? At the 24 Hours of Rouen, Team Abu Dhabi showed their dominance when the team of Rashid Al-Khamzi, Rashid Al-Tayer, Tullio Abate and Sean Torrente, who already won the F1 H2O Championship last year, was unbeatable in Rouen, winning 65 laps ahead of Team BRT on second place.
We win this race, but we win, and we hope to win Poland race the 12 hours and win the world champion.
So now Abu Dhabi's goal is clear, winning all 3 major circuit racing world championships.
Yeah, we try to make it, because the guys in Formula 1 is doing very great job, and we'll do in the Formula 2 the same, and 24 hours the same we do.
That means Al-Khamzi is more than ready to repeat his 2017 Kaunas victory.
So we're back live. Just want to welcome people from around the world watching. Current UIM F1 H2O World Champion Sean Torrente. Good afternoon, Sean, in warm Florida. Keith Whittle from the not so glamorous Hayling Island, and a plethora of other powerboat racing superstars. If you've got any comments this afternoon, please feel free just to comment on the Powerboat Racing World Facebook page, and we'll endeavour to answer any of your questions.
Well, I think I'll leave that to John. He answers most of the complicated questions, and he. Well, I'll try and answer some of the questions, but go easy on us, guys. So coming up then, John, is Q1 Group A. So we've split the because there were so many boats that had entered, and that's really encouraging, isn't it? So we split them up. There's Group A, Group B, and Group C. We'll all do Q1 separately. So we've got 8 boats in each, and John, I think we'll just run through the drivers in Group A.
Well, we talked earlier about Mette Bertnes. She was quick this morning, so she will be fancying herself against Root Temper, Ferdinand in the Bubba on the newly branded Sharjah team. Ovis Lacteris, hugely experienced, always a force to be reckoned with. You were talking about Duarte Benavente earlier. And of course, from the UAE, both from the Victory and Abu Dhabi teams, we have Rashid Al-Khamzi and Ahmed Al-Fahim.
Yep, and my money there in this group really is Rashid Al-Qaim, because he was really on the money actually, and he was the fastest of them all. There was a slight issue with the course in free practice, but initially he set the fastest time of them all of a 42.39. They've since slightly altered the course since then, so the times that we'll talk about will be adjusted.
We need to explain that because his time looked extremely quick, but they did actually lengthen the course on that first practice session. So you've probably got some road times in there. The times on the second practice are probably more indicative of what we'll be seeing this afternoon.
But all will be revealed very, very shortly, as we have 8 drivers quite eager. They will have seen what happened to Vippo earlier, and of course they will have taken that on board, and you know, they take it in, they absorb, they watch other, you know, if they're not in the session themselves, they'll watch other drivers just to see how they're coping with the conditions. But they're on their own, really. Well, I say they're on their own. Actually, they've got their radio men. They're in a big tent just to the left of us, so they're all in radio communication with their radio men or ladies. We'll call them radio personnel, I think, for this weekend. But it is that moment of quietness now as we look down on the grid, and you could see Rashid there in boat number 35, the Abu Dhabi boat, and obviously one of a 2-boat team here this weekend. And John, that's the, I believe, the older DAC. There's 2 DACs in that team. Of course, team boss, team principal, Guido Cappellini, 10 times Formula 1 world champion. So he's got a bit of a job on his hands. He's got something to prove here this weekend, just to put the Formula 2 team, I think, start them off on a good run, and maybe set a pole, maybe you know, win a race here this weekend.
Yes, and of course the other big news from Abu Dhabi in the last few weeks with Formula 2 is they'll be hosting the season finale in Abu Dhabi in December. So where that's been a stronghold for Formula 1 F1 H2O this year, Abu Dhabi have elected to bring the Formula 2 community over.
Yep, and that's encouraging to see, isn't it? You know, this series now beginning to build itself. I know that there was a meeting yesterday and again with drivers briefing this morning, so it's all very encouraging. Of course, the UIM have restructured kind of Formula 2. Pelle Larsson, our race director here this weekend, along with Giacomo. I think they're going to be a good team for this series, and certainly the future looks very, very bright for Formula 2.
Well, committed race organisers as well. Garis Ryabko, who is obviously out here racing this weekend, has been organising this event here. He's worked extremely hard to put the thing together. Then, of course, we go to Tonsberg in Norway, where Frode Sandstøl and his partner Joyce Christian Andersen do the same, work virtually tirelessly through the year to put these events together.
And it's because they're both drivers themselves, and you know, to put the race on, to host the event, to organise the event, and go through all of that, and then to race themselves. It's an enormous amount of pressure. And I worry a little bit about Edgaras this weekend because you know it's his home course. You know, he's racing in front of his sponsors, his home crowd. So there's that pressure. There's the pressure of running the event. So let's see how he copes with that.
No, it's absolutely. He really was in a series of meetings yesterday, testing his boat, trying to raise extra money. It's a formidable job.
You won't see Edgaras in the first group though. Let's see. I think he is in Group C. So we have to wait a while before we see the Lithuanian in action. In the meantime, we can see that Uwe Slakteris in boat number 51 is ready to go there. Final preparations for him as he now lowers the canopy on the boat. I have to say, John, and you can correct me if I'm wrong here, but the mole guard then of Uves's boats looks slightly different on top. I guess that's because of Uves's height, because Uves is probably one of the taller drivers in Formula 2. So that boat then being slightly adjusted to fit in the safety cell.
Yeah, up with these UIM rules of a couple of years back. Okay, we've got boats on the water.
So this is it. This is 20 minutes then. The top 5 of the 8 drivers will go through. As we will keep you informed on the live timing as they all exit the pits. 2 drivers left on the end there then, so we now watch Ruud Temper now exit the pits. Of course, his engine builder here this weekend, Michael Werner, an ex-World Formula 1 champion in his own right. So we can see what Ruud Temper can do with the brand new DAC. So Slakteris then, he's got himself in a good position possibly because he's got clear water ahead of him. So when he starts his flying lap, I think we could see some fast times from him initially. But I think really the man to watch in this qualifying session is going to be Rashid Al-Kemzi.
And what the drivers have to watch is when they're heading back to this pontoon, that's when they're coming into the wind and it is still gusting. I spoke to Hector Lopez about this a little earlier, and he said it was blowing so much this morning he was having just to back off. He just couldn't go in full throttle onto it.
Yeah, it is proving to be a little bit tricky, the conditions. And from where we are, I mean, the wind actually doesn't seem that bad, but certainly when the gusts come, we all know about it here in the pits, as Mette Björkner's there in boat number 9 trying to find a little bit of pace. Certainly she found the pace in free practice this morning. She was smiling earlier, wasn't she, John? You know, she's quite happy with her boat's performance at the moment.
Well, she's certainly pleased to be back in a catamaran. I watched her in Macau a month or so back where she went into a monohull series, and she got quite bumped around in that, and so I think she's pleased to be back in a more hull.
Well, we were just watching there the Sharjah boat, then the Sharjah team headed by Sami Salio, but his driver is Ferdinand Zanderberg. So we watch to see what the Sharjah team can do here this weekend. So Benavente trying to just find some space on the water. I can tell you that he's got a big gap ahead of him. So he's just preparing himself, I think, for a flying lap. And you can see there, so this is the new DAC of Ruud Temper's. And you can see there on the front of the boat the aerodynamic fins, 2 black fins on the front of the nose cone. So this really, the boat has been in the wind tunnel, so this is really to try and improve the aerodynamics of the front of the hull.
Now, just for your guide, the quickest lap time we saw this morning on this bigger course was a 47.47 posted by Tobias Muntkath. So that's where we need to be looking around. Qualifying last year, the pole position went to Alberto Comparato on a 52.
So yeah, so we're just looking at the best time so far. Oscar Samuelson then with a 1 minute 1.68. So that's comparatively a little bit slow at the moment, isn't it, John?
Yeah.
So as you can see, the conditions, it's a bit overcast. We did have 1 or 2 splits of rain here earlier, but I think the rain is going to be okay. I think it's going to hold off as Oscar Samuelson then on another flying lap, but already Mette Björknes goes faster with a 1:0.50. So 1 minute 1.50 for Mette. So Mette then. It was quite interesting actually in the free practice. So Mette Björknes and both Vinba Schoen were both very, very fast. So they're going to have a battle of the ladies, I think.
Okay, so we've got our first proper time here, 50 seconds for Ferdinand Zandbergen, a 50.18. That's a bit more like it where we're looking at.
Yep, so we've gone underneath the 1 minute, and yeah, actually, you can see 10 seconds then already been shaved off at that initial time, so that's good. Benavente then needs to wind it up a little bit there. He was trying to find some space on the water earlier on, but let's see what he can do. He's got Slakterus actually then just ahead of him. So we can see then the front of the boat. So this looks a fairly clean lap, but we know that Slakterus is just in front. You can just see there in the picture just the wash off Slakterus's boat, but it's not really affecting Benavente. Slakterus then takes it wide, but Benavente then on the inside. You don't really want to race each other in a qualifying session, but these two are very, very close. Look at this. And wow, that was almost a racing situation, wasn't it? But Benavente, look at that, John. So 49.37 seconds.
Yeah, getting nearer that sort of 47 mark, which is what we're expecting, and possibly better than that going into Q3, I would suspect.
So we look now at the Victory boat. Let's see what they can do. The Victory team also then from the UAE and Ahmed Al Fahim. Let's see if he can post a quick time as we look on the screen, but at the moment it's still not below the 50-second barrier. So once again we go faster as I look at the screen there.
Al Kemsey posts 47.46.
That's a ballistic time at the moment. So he is the man, and he was the man to beat earlier in the free practice. So we got what? We got 3 boats then underneath the 48-second barrier. So they're now setting the pace, and we're nearly coming up to 5 minutes into the session. So hey, John, they got 15 more minutes of this. Oh, I think that we could possibly see this down to 46 seconds, possibly.
That would be interesting. For sure, Al Kemsey's put his banker lap in there. He'll be pleased with that.
So he's going for another hot lap, and you can see then right underneath the boat running into the wind. And let's see if this time improves.
And if you're just joining us, very good afternoon from Kaunas. The Grand Prix of Lithuania, the UIM F2 World Championship, starting this weekend.
Yeah, it's going to be a long season, isn't it? It goes all the way through to December. You know, so we don't want any silly mistakes early on, but the next round, which is in Norway, I believe.
We head to Tonsberg in Norway, organised by Frode Sandstad, who would have been racing here this weekend, but has decided to stay home and continue organising his event and put all of his efforts into that.
So we're now looking at the Charger boat then of Ferdinand. So Ferdinand then from the Netherlands.
Al Kemsey's on a 47.03 now.
So he's gone faster. Does Ferdinand have an answer then for that? And I fear that he's laying third fastest at the moment with a 49.52. So Ferdinand still got to squeeze a little bit more out of that Baba boat as he approaches now the right-hander, and we'll explain the course very, very shortly. There's 6 turns on this race circuit. The longest straight is 690 metres from turn 6 down to turn number 1. As we look at the picture there of boat number 51, Uvas Slakteris from Latvia. And as you said earlier, John, you know, Uvas a lot of experience underneath that crash helmet, and you know, a previous champion, a previous European champion. And it would be nice for Uvas to kind of get some results in.
Yeah, because we watched him win the European Championship at Stuartby in 2017.
Yeah, 16 or 17, I believe. So yeah.
And he had a good weekend there.
So I know that he's going to be hoping for a good weekend as we watch now Mette Björknes. Now let's have a look. So Mette in, well, that's surprising, she's right down the bottom, so her fastest time is a 50.72. That's going to get faster though, isn't it, John?
One would hope so, because otherwise she's going to struggle and go straight into the repechage.
Yeah, and as a driver, you don't really want to put that added pressure on. It's never really a good position to be in.
No, it gives her a lot of extra laps. That's tomorrow. It's a lot to do.
It's a lot of mileage on the equipment, isn't it? So Duarte Benavente then laying second fastest at the moment with a 49.16, and Duarte exits the pits then and makes his way up towards the right-hander. So he's just dialing himself in for another lap, and of course in free practice he would have got himself familiar with the race course. It's all about all out really now in the qualifying in Q1, and let's not forget it's the top 5 boats to go through, and at this early stage, and we're 8.5 minutes now into this session if you're interested, because so far the drivers who are safe is Rashid Al Kremzi, and then it is Benavente, Sandbergen, and then Slakteris, and then Rupert Temper. So they're all safe at the moment. But, you know, Samuelson, we know that he's quick, so, you know, we wait and see what he can do.
Al Kemzi, his time is nearly 2 seconds over, 2 seconds faster than Benavente, the 2017 UIM F2 World Champion. He's put down a marker already. His team manager clearly wants to get this World Championship back. Alberto Comparato, who was only 20 years of age when he won the World Championship last year. I think he surprised a lot of people. Did a great job, but Abu Dhabi now will be looking to get their mark on it.
Yeah, they want to put the stamp on that for sure, and well, let's see if that happens, but so far they seem to be doing everything right. But as we all know, in powerboat racing anything can happen, and actually what's happened there, because we now look at Rashid there, so he's stopped, the canopy is open, which means that he's okay. So he could just be finding some space on the water, and I guess that's what he's doing at the moment. Not that he needs to, because he is provisionally the fastest boat out there. So let's hope that that's not a mechanical problem, and let's hope that that we will see him up and running a little later on. But of course, even if it is a mechanical problem, and if no one beats his time, he still makes it into Q2.
So we've had 10 minutes of the session, and off of your screen I can already see the Group B boats being craned in, so that will sort of keep things rather sharpish.
And in the meantime, Ferdinand Zandbergen trying to post and trying to improve on his 4th position of 49.52 at the moment, but trying to find a little bit more speed out of that boat.
And Mette Björknes, she's just popped in a 49.82, so she's at the moment she's in the top 5.
Yep, she's in the safe zone, and it knocks Rip Temper out of the safe zone. But I'm sure that Radio Men will be on the in Rip's ears. I don't know if Rip likes to listen to Radio Men or not, but
I have never seen Rupert listen to anyone, have you?
So he listened to me this morning. But we'll see what happens. There's a long way to go. We're just over halfway through the session. 20 minutes, top 5 boats to go through. And as you said, Mette is now safe. She's in that 5th position. She'll want to move possibly up a little bit further than that, though, just to you know, make her mark on it, just to be a little bit more safe than what she is at the moment.
But in the danger zone are Oscar Samuelson, Ahmed Al Fahim, the Victory team, and Rupert Temper. Now, the Victory team have brought 2 boats here. They are of their own design. They've had a similar situation in UIM F1H2O running their own design, but I do understand that Alex Kalala will be running a DAC hull next weekend in Evian.
Yeah, that's a little bit interesting, and we'll see what happens there. But they've brought their victory boats with them here this weekend for F2. So Slakteris once again, Uwe Slakteris, the man from Latvia. Exits turn 6 down the long straight, the longest part of the course now, where the boat reaches full speed up to about 147 kilometres an hour, and then into turn 1, and then it's a short straight of about 100 metres between turns 1 and 2. He exits then it's a little bit of a hike up towards the right-hander as we ride with now Slakteris. Approaches the right-hander, and I think he's looks like he's come off the pace a little bit there on the exit of the right-hander. So it looks like, has he scrapped that lap, I wonder? Possibly. So he's now round turn 5 at the top, and then the straight. That was much shorter, wasn't it, earlier on this morning? But Slakteris just looking at the rooster tail really on the boat, and doesn't really seem to be setting the world on fire, shall we say. But Slakteris round the top. Now it's all go again, and we'll watch the time then. Slakteris is in, he's second fastest anyway, so he doesn't really need to prove anything at the moment. His fastest time is a 48.87 second lap. He's done 12 laps at the moment, and I know Uwe's from the past, he likes to put in lap after lap after lap. He's one who does actually put mileage on the engine, but at the moment he's pretty comfortable, he's pretty safe, and in the meantime Rick Temper's got himself back up to 5th.
Yeah, just posted in a 49.72, which drops Met Bertness into 6th. She's currently on a flying lap.
So we'll wait and see then if it can be an interesting dice. This is, I think, could be the competition on who's going to be knocked out. Will it be Roop? Will it be Mete?
Yeah.
We'll wait and see on that, but we'll keep our eyes peeled. So 13 minutes coming up for 14 minutes now into the session. So 6 minutes, that's what, that's about 5 laps, maybe 6 if you're lucky. So Samuelson then, Oscar Samuelson, can he do it? I mean, he's 7th fastest at the moment, 50.03, you can see on your screens there. So he's hanging it, the boat's kind of dancing around a little bit. So round the turn, as we watch Samuelson, he's round at turn 5, and then the straight. We'll get a time on him in a minute, I'm pretty sure. And you can see the aerial view now of Samuelson, and actually he's slowed down. He's scrapped that lap, so I think he's seen now a better chance. There's a bit more of a gap now between himself and Rick Temper, who's just ahead of him, as we now look at Duarte Benavente, who has moved up to 2nd fastest, 48.47. So that actually, believe it or not, knocks Uvis down to 4th. So it's happening all the time then, isn't it? So the lap times are changing, the positions are changing. Let's see as we enter now the final 5 minutes or so in this session. And I still feel that Samuelson has got something left. But Benavente, as we watch him now, exit turn 6, down the long straight. The Optimax performing for Benavente. Does he improve on the 48.47? And the answer is no, he remains where he is. So you can see then that Benavente on another flying lap then. Round the right-hander, and then back up towards turn 5. And it's more of a turn at the top end of the racecourse, so the boat having to trim in, the driver trimming the boat in to get the nose of the boat down and round the turn. Long straight then into turn number 6. Once again drifting it around. As now we watch Samuelson now. Let's try and talk him up into the safe zone. So he's already in the safe zone. Oscar Samuelsson then, third fastest, 48.44, John.
Benavente just popped in a 48.25.
So both now, Ruud Temper and Mette Bjerknes are in the danger zone with, what have we got? We're coming up for about 3 minutes to go left in the session. And we were talking earlier, John, about Mette and the repechage race, and really that's a place, we said earlier, didn't we? It's a place she doesn't really want to be, and at the moment she's going to end up there.
Yeah, it's unfortunately a familiar tale. She does do quite a few repechage races. The speed she had this morning just isn't here this afternoon.
Now this is interesting because look at this. So Rashid Al-Khamsi then, he's out there 46.41. And that's interesting. He didn't need to go out there and do that, but I guess he's just proving a point for Q2.
He's just shaved off nearly another half second off his time, hasn't he? I mean, 46.41 in Q1. Wow.
I think it's psycho wars. I think there's psychological warfare going on out there just to say, you know, we can do this and we can do it well.
Well, it could have been all those pizzas Abu Dhabi ordered at lunchtime. I've never seen so many pizzas coming in.
Well, it seems to be working. As we watch the fastest man in Lithuania at the moment on the race course, the fastest man in Kaunas.
Did you get a slice?
I don't really like pizza.
No.
Did you get the slice?
No.
No.
I was wearing my victory shirt.
You don't mean you were controversial by any chance?
Absolutely not. Perish the thought.
So Oscar Samuelsson then, third fastest, 48.44 is his fastest time. His last time is 48.94, so a little bit slower, but it's okay. He's in the safe zone. We've got just over 2 minutes left in the session.
Yes, and as a former football manager once said, it's getting to squeaky bum time.
And it is, but and talking of which, Ruud Temper has now got back in the safe zone, so he's now fifth fastest. So we'll just quickly run down then who's safe. So Rashmid is safe, Duarte is safe, Oscar Samuelsson is safe, Ferdinand is safe, and Ruud Temper is safe as well, but it's not looking good for Mette Bjerknes, Uwe Slakteris and Ahmed Al-Fahan. So we will wait and see if they can come out with a special lap, but I don't think it's going to happen. I think they've left it too late as we now look at the final 30 seconds now left in the session now.
Bjerknes on a flying lap, her father on the pontoon looking particularly pensive. Can she do it?
Well, we'll wait and see as we look at Oscar Samuelsson, third fastest at the moment. So he is safe. And we've got 10 seconds now left in the session as Samuelsson knows now. His radio man will be on the radio to him saying, it's okay, you can relax now, you can be safe because you may be heading down towards turn 6, but very shortly it will be the end of the session and you've done enough and you're safe, my friend. So we are now in the final seconds of this session. Does Mette improve? She comes across the line, and no, she doesn't. It was a 50.03 for Mette Bjerknes. So once again, Mette out there. So I was waiting for a checkered flag there, John, but didn't seem to be getting any. But it does mean that Mette, and we can see her now on the flying lap, down then towards the start-finish straight. And Mette then right on the limits as she comes past us now. And we get a time on her. So Mette shuts off, and time will flash.
49.09.
Yeah, it's still not enough, is it? In fact, she's now seventh. Seventh out of 8. That's not good enough, unfortunately, for her to be in the Q2.
And the victory driver, who won the F4S race in Portimao recently, is the slowest on this qualifying session Group A.
Yep, and it's quite interesting, isn't it? The stepping stone from F4S to Formula 2. And then, you know, this is a great stepping stone from Formula 2 to Formula 1. Some drivers like to hang around in Formula 2 and become very successful in Formula 2. Some of it hot-footed to Formula 1. But what a great stepping stone it is to make that trip from F4 to this and then to F1. So we wait and see, and I think someone's lap, we've just seen off screen, got wrecked, and Ferdinand probably not happy. So we were saying end of session, but this must now be a 25-minute session. Super Slacturus comes down to post another fast time. His second fastest, actually, 48.03 is his best time, and he's just set it. So Uvas Slacturus then really back on form, and let's hope this is something for Uvas for the rest of the weekend. It'd be great to see Uvas right up there on the podium at the end of the racing here. So Uvas Slacturus then 48.03, and checkered flag, so we just slightly overrun there, but checkered flag is ready, and so Root Temper, Meti Bukness and Ahmed Al Fahim go out. They do not make it through into the Q2. They will have to face the repechage tomorrow.
Yes, Jason, that 20-minute session over now. Obviously, the added 2.53 minutes was because they start timing after their third lap. So we have all the Group B boats in the water, ready for action. And if you're watching the timing screen at home, that hasn't updated yet, but I can tell you in this Group B, we've got Johan Osterberg, Ola Pettersson, Stefan Hagen, Bimber Shoham, Hector Sanz, Brent Dillard, Daniel Segermark, Nick Bisterfield, and Nikita Leaks. Now this is going to be an interesting one. Brent Dillard in his Moore hull. He could be the one to watch. Sorry.
Yeah. So we now look then at the Group B, and in Group B, as you said, Johan Osterberg. This is quite a tough group, isn't it, John? Because we've got Johan Osterberg from Sweden, Ola Pettersson from Sweden, Stefan Hagen from Germany.
And that's the guy I think we could be the one to watch. Stefan Hagen, he was looking quick this morning. He's been doing a lot of testing over the winter. And I have an insider from Germany who tells me that could be the guy this weekend.
He could be the man to watch then. So also we have another one of our lady drivers then. So we got Bimber Shoham. So she will be there alongside Hector Sanz, Brent Dillard, the man. So we were talking earlier, weren't we, about Brent. This is the crunch time, isn't it, for Brent?
It is. He's got a new radio man, Britain's Matthew Porfreman. I did speak to him the other night and said, how on earth do you understand Matthew with the accent? He said, with great difficulty.
Is it not Paul Freyman?
I think that's how it's pronounced in Germany.
So then we've got Daniel Segenmark and Nick Bisterfeld and then Nikita Leaks. And Nikita, of course, another former Formula 4 driver. So again, another one of the young guns making it from F4 up to F2.
Yes, the Latvian put in some very good performances in UIM F4 World Championship races.
as we look at that, and that's a lovely sight, isn't it? See an action-packed pit here in the opening round of the UIM Formula 2 Championship.
Probably what the picture doesn't tell you is that it's absolutely freezing here.
Yep, I can tell you that it's that cold now. John's he's put his coat on, so
jumper, coat, hat,
fluffy boots.
Yep,
everything. Some of the highlights then from Group A as we now look at Group B. They are ready to go. Some of the canopies still open on most of them.
Now, the pictures you're seeing on your feed, whether you're watching on YouTube or onto Facebook, are actually now going out live on Lithuanian television on their network show, and the two Lithuanian commentators are sitting next to us. So we can pretty much say the whole of Lithuania is watching this event.
That was an interesting chat there with Capolini and Ruud Temper. Wonder what they're talking about. Probably Ruud giving him a bit of feedback from that session. As we now look at the Group B. So once again, 20 minutes, or effectively 23 minutes.
Yes, as our tent fills up with the exhaust of these Optis.
Yeah, if we pass out, we do apologise.
I can't wait for electric racing.
That'll be no fun. No noise, no nothing. So Nikita Leaks then really ready. And you can see there on the left, Nikita Leaks now exits the pit lane. Interesting to see what this young gun in Formula 2 now can do. I watched him in F4, very good driver. He's very fast in the F4 series. Can he translate that then to Formula 2 action? We'll wait and see.
Well, let's give this a couple of minutes till we get the first proper times through.
Yeah, this gives them a chance really to dial themselves in with the race course, doesn't it? And the conditions and everything else, you know. It's a different conditions now to what it was about 2 hours ago when they were doing free practice. As Bimber Shohom then, that's exactly what Bimber's doing at the moment in boat number 11. Very, very fast though in free practice. Should be just dialing herself in, and should be just familiarising herself, working out where she's going to pick up these extra tenths of a second or so as she heads off to turn 5. So look at Nikita Leaks now. I can tell you, and what you can't see is that the wind is now starting to slightly pick up again as Nikita Leaks now decides to go on a flying lap. And I can tell you, and you can probably see, that lots of clear water. In fact, the next boat is probably about 300 or so metres just in front, as we now switch to Johan Osterberg as the whistle goes, which means that we now go live with the timing. So Osterberg, just in front of, you can see there, Bimber. So Bimber, Sean. Try and find some space. That's probably not enough space there for her between herself and Osterberg. could just upset the balance of the boat in the corners, so we'll wait and see if she just backs off. They're all put in, they're all now starting to put in some dialing in laps, and that's quite noticeable, John, because
we just give it a couple of minutes until we start seeing the real times, I think. Then now obviously this session will overrun to 20, 22 minutes, some 23 minutes, something like that. Now, Lithuanian television director just asked me to explain that to him, because their television is overrunning and they're trying to get their commercials fitted in. But this is commercial free on Facebook and YouTube.
No adverts, but you can pay us to say things, I guess.
Yes, that would be a good idea, wouldn't it?
Within reason, I guess.
Yeah. So I'm staying in the same hotel as the Gordon Cook racing team, and I'm just putting everything on Gordon's tab.
I'm sure he knows that as well.
Yeah, he found out last night.
Looking at Stefan Hagen then, he's the man really to watch in this session. We'll wait and see what happens with him in the Mole Garden. Who was I talking to? Was it you, John, last night, or somebody? About the underneath of that boat. That boat is a one-off Mole Guard. It's something special. And he's very, very lucky really to have that boat.
It was Christian Langer who was talking about it, wasn't it? Christian Langer, who does the video recaps from UIM F2.
And you can see for yourselves then, best lap so far, 48 seconds from Stefan Hagen, who is the fastest, and Ola Pedersen then second fastest, with 48.63, which I guess at these times will be a little bit irrelevant at the moment.
So you've got the session A times, haven't you, Jason?
Yeah, we'll just find those, and
we can just do some comparisons. Stefan Hagen currently the quickest on a 48-second lap. Ola Pedersen 48.63, Daniel Segermark 48.85. Now remember, Al Kemsey's time was an incredible 46.41.
So we know that Daniel Segermark is fast at the moment, but we're now looking at Ola Pedersen, who is second fastest with that 48.63.
And down in seventh is Hector Sanz from Spain. He was not happy with the setup of his boat this morning, and he was pretty mystified with it, with the handling. And he wasn't a happy bunny at all. And I guess that that's eighth drop down to now, and his best lap is 50 seconds and 10.
Yeah, he's got to find something special, I think, hasn't he, really, to kind of improve on that.
And America's Brent Dillard at the moment is outside the top 5. He's on a 49.53 in the Moore Hull. Moore Hull is built by David Moore in France.
It's quite interesting, really, when you look back on hull design. So we're looking at a DAC here at the moment, but you know, DAC have come back into Formula 2 with quite a vengeance, really, proving that they are a decent hull once again in F2, where it used to be dominated, certainly 10 years ago, it was Mole Guard, but since then the hulls have moved on, and certainly the Mole Guard's still a very, very competitive boat, but DAC are coming back with a vengeance.
So after 5.5 minutes, Hagen's done 5 laps and still has a best time of 48 seconds dead.
So we're now watching then, we can see in the background Ola Pedersen, but we're now watching the boat 54. And well, what can he do? I don't know. He's third at the moment, so Segermark doesn't really need to do too much. Other than just keep the boat on the water, but Segermark, we now look at Stefan Hagen.
Jason, I'm just keeping an eye on the Lithuanian commentator next to me. It looks like he's got hypothermia.
Yeah, he's put his coat on as well, so he's the only brave one in shorts and t-shirt at the moment, it seems. But just having a look around at the moment, and session. It was always going to be a tough one. Some tough drivers in this session, actually. Once again, we look at Hector there, just in the background, but we're now looking at Stefan Hagen in boat number 19. The fastest man in this session at the moment, still not improved on his 48 seconds flat, but at the moment he doesn't need to because he's safe enough to go through into Q2. So Stefan Hagen pulling into the pit lane by the looks of things, along with Hector Sands. They have a pit lane here, we should just explain, of course. That's just like Formula 1 motor car racing. It's a safe way to exit the race course, and they're told to enter and exit it, obviously not at race speed, because it would be carnage. So we're just observing that rule as we look back then to Nikita Leaks in boat number 71. So Nikita then, second fastest at the moment, 48.31, a lap he's just posted actually. So his last lap of 48.31, so Nikita Leaks.
Which is a quick lap. That would have been, well, fastest. He could have been second in Group A on that speed, and second in Group B. So the comparison really is 48.47 was the second fastest time in Group A.
Yeah, and I'm wondering actually how much some of the top drivers who are in the safe zone are holding back, because they won't want to blow it, they won't want to make any mistakes, they want to save a little bit for Q2, and more importantly, hopefully, if they get through to the shootout for Q3.
Yeah, for sure. Although, of course, Al Kemsey did put it in the 46.41, and that makes you wonder how much more he's got.
He was proving the point, and let's see if he has got any more. We'll find out later on here this afternoon, as once again we look at Nikita Leaks, who Johan Osterberg has actually gone faster. So although we're looking at Nikita Leaks, we can tell you that 48.19 from Johan Osterberg moves Nikita Leaks actually down a place to third, but it's okay, it's still safe. Remember, it's the top 5 that go through, and Nikita Leaks at the moment still safe in that third slot. But of course, radio communications would have gone on there.
And just to recap, if you're just joining us, we have 3 groups in Q1, Group A, Group B, Group C. They've got 8 boats in each, 5 go through to Q2. So then we have obviously 15 boats in Q2, then we go through to Q3, which is the shootout, and 10 boats do the shootout. The first boat that goes out is the slowest of Q2, and then all the way through. We obviously lost 2 boats in the practices this morning. The Finnish Kalivippo had a massive accident in front of us, treble Soko blowover, and he's all fine. And we lost Germany's Mike Sizemura, who punched a massive hole into his bubba hull and did other damage to gearbox and propellers and various.
Yeah, but as we were saying earlier, not the way that you want to start a Formula 2 championship season.
Absolutely not.
So we're looking at Johan Osterberg then in boat number 2. The man from Sweden, campaigned Formula 2 for many, many years now, a very experienced Formula 2 driver. Let's see what he can do. He's safe at the moment, isn't he? He's second fastest, as you can see, in this session, 48.19, his fastest time of all.
And Jason, we're getting these stronger gusts of wind now, aren't we?
So Johan Osterberg, if you're interested, has done 9 laps. No, he's done 11 laps actually. He posted his fastest on the 9th lap. He's done 11 laps. And he's out there for some more, but the most laps done in this session, both Nick Listerfeld actually, and also Johan Osterberg on 11 laps.
Incredibly tight really from second onwards. Osterberg 48.19, Leaks 48.31, second lap 48.33. Ola Pedersen 48.63. Brent Dillard 48.92.
Yep, and Brent's in the danger zone, isn't he? We're over halfway through the session at the moment. So Brent Dillard needs to, well, I guess that Comparato's going to be putting some pressure and some words of Italian possibly in his ears.
I'll pop into the radio tent, get some information from the radio man and come back to you on the Brent Dillard situation.
Yeah, it's going to be quite interesting, thanks John, because you know, the pressure's on Brent, I think, this weekend. Big things that was all talked around the paddock yesterday and the day before. how quick this American driver is and could be. He's done a lot of testing just recently and actually brought to the event the Moore boat. He thought that he was actually going to bring the DAC hull. So that, in fact, surprised a few people, I think, but Brent preferring to use the Moore boat from last year. So at the moment, he's in the danger zone as we now look once again at Nikita Leaks, in boat number 71. Third fastest at the moment with a 48.31 as John runs back to me. And John, hot news from the radio tent then.
They're fairly confident in the Dillard camp that they can put a good lap in. And I think you're going to probably see that happen in the next 2 or 3 laps.
Yeah, but I guess there's time as well, isn't there? Because, you know, we're just over halfway through the session now. So there's still plenty of time to... I think there could be 1 or 2 maybe surprises here. Certainly... Bimber was faster in free practice, so maybe we need to see her a little bit more in the safe zone. But Brent Dillard, I think, could get through. But
still, the class of Group B is Stefan Hagen with the 48 dead.
Yep, after he's done 7 laps in this session, and he actually done it on the 2nd lap, you know. So he put the stamp down pretty early, didn't he?
Yeah. He laid his mark.
He did. So Johan Osterberg still comfortable there, 2nd, and he'll be pleased with that as well. You know, there's a lot of other teams out there. So we now look then at Hector Sands, 9th fastest. And that's not good, and that means repechage time for him if he doesn't improve. And in fact, his fastest time is 50.66. As once again we look at Nikita Leaks, his last lap was actually a little bit slower than his time, 48.85 seconds. So sort of calming down slightly. I think there'll be a little bit of a surge in about 3 or 4 minutes' time when they realise that time's running out, John, and they need to do something desperate. But just to remind you, in the dropout zone so far, in 6th place, Brent Dillard. Bimber Shoham is, well, it's changed now, actually. So Bimber's actually now still in the danger zone, but she's now sort of 6th. 7th is Brent Dillard, 8th is Nick Bisterfeld, and 9th is Hector Sands. So, you know, they're in repechage zone, shall we say.
Yeah, and wafer thin margins from the 2nd quickest boat to the 7th quickest boat.
Now this could be Brent Dillard's time. Look at that, clear water ahead of him, just trying to pick him up on the race course. He's coming towards us, so he's now down. This could be the start of a flying lap. Let's see, he now takes the turn, but we cut away from that to watch Nikita Leaks.
Yeah, even if he's off screen, we can say he's definitely on a flying lap. I know his radio man, Paul Freeman, was looking for a good clear lap for him. He was slowing him down and then found him some space.
Yeah, and hopefully we'll pick it up on the screen in a moment. But in the meantime, what you can see is Bimber Shoham on a flying lap. Can she improve on the 6th position? The answer, I guess, is no. It's still a slow lap for Bimber.
And the wind has picked up significantly now.
So Daniel Segenmark has just done his best lap then so far. He now moves up to 2nd with a 48.06. Now look at that. We're just looking at the screen. Well, it still wasn't good enough. I was just watching Brent Dillard, but slightly off screen. But that was a fast lap, but it wasn't fast enough. In the meantime, we're now looking at the 2nd fastest man in Connors. Daniel Segenmark in the DAC. Obviously the handling problems from earlier is rectified now, so he's got to be happy with that. 48.06. So we've now got about 5 minutes remaining now in the session.
And I'll be honest, Jason, I was surprised to see Segenmark put in that 48.06 because that coincided when the wind was picking up, and then obviously the river here was bumping up.
maybe the boat prefers the rough, perhaps. Maybe it likes a bit of wind underneath the boat, but we'll see. We watch him now then. Second mark. Just watch as he goes round turn 2, makes his way to turn 3, the right-hander.
So those heading for the repechage at the moment are Bimber Shoham, Brent Dillard, Nick Bisterfield and Hector Sands. Some big names may not make Q2.
Yeah, that could be a big race tomorrow. But again, as I said, you know, you don't really want to put yourself in that situation as we watch Nick Bisterfield, who is 8th fastest. So he is another one of the drivers then in the danger zone at the moment. And Bisterfield, another driver then who's campaigned F2 for at least 10 years or more now. As we watch then the man from the USA, Brent Dillard. So Brent needs to do something special, as does this lady, Bimber Shoham, who's 6th fastest. Time's now beginning to slip away.
You know, and ideally Dillard needs to put in a lap time a second quicker.
And how can you find that speed? If you've been going around for, what, 17 minutes or so, it doesn't suddenly just come, surely, John?
I think it'll have to be a very brave lap.
And the wind's picking up as well, so it'll have to be something very special. But we'll wait and see. Maybe the wind will just drop off just for 1 minute, but we are running out of those, unfortunately, at the moment.
Yeah, and you can see the lap times here are dropping right the way back.
So Bimber Shoham then just showing us that you know, the conditions a little bit tricky and a bit of a drag race going on down to the start-finish line between Bimber and Ola Pedersen. And Ola's okay at the moment, but you know, I'd say he's okay, but he's 5th fastest, and that time could just disappear at the last minute, and that's exactly what you don't want. You don't want to get too comfortable, and I think that's why he's now gone out there, just to say, right, you know, I think I might need to just put a banking lap in, just to make sure I'm safe. So ideally, you'd probably want to get up to 4th.
I've just had a big smile from Rashid Al-Khemzi, just walked past us to go into the radio tent. He looks very confident.
And so he should do. The fastest man in that Connaughton at the moment, so yeah, you've got to be happy with that. I wonder why he's smiling.
And as we come into the final minutes of this qualifying B session in Q1, Stefan Hagen still tops the times with 48.00. Daniel Segermark, Johan Osterberg, Nikita Leeks and Ola Pettersson look to be the 5 that will go through. And those headed for the repechage, Bimber Shoham, Brent Dillard, Nick Bisterfield and Spain's Hector Sands.
So Nikita Leeks then as we watch. So that kind of surprises me then to see him up there in 4th position. So very safe at the moment for Nikita Leeks. As I said, an experienced Formula 4 driver, and Leeks then round turn 2 up to turn 3. So Daniel Segermark comfortable in 2nd position as Bimber Shoham. One final attempt, I think, for Bimber. But I think she already knows, John, it's too late in this session.
Yeah, it's potentially curtains for Bimber, Brent, Nick and Hector. And I do suspect we've now got the Group C boats all craned in and ready to rock and roll. I do suspect we'll see, obviously, lower lap times in the Group C qualifying with the way things have chopped up on the water and these gusts of wind.
Yeah, it's beginning to go a little bit downhill, the conditions here today, but you know, the main thing is the boats are staying on the water. They would have seen what happened in free practice, and so they dial themselves in, and John, that's it, I think.
Yep, Dave Pelly Larson, the race director's blown the whistle on 21 and 8 seconds. So it was Stefan Hagen with a 48.00, Daniel Segermark with a 48.06, Johan Osterberg a 48.19, Nikita Leeks a 48.31, and Ola Pettersson with a 48.63, who proceed through to Q2. And we lost Brent Dillard. That was a big, big shock. But it would appear that when he was getting set up to put in a good lap, that's when the weather changed for the worst, and that cost him, and it's cost him dear.
So Ola Pedersen managed to just stay safe then, didn't he?
He did, but I think, as I say, I think that was a reflection of when some of those boats in 6th, 7th, 8th and 9th could have done some better times. That was really when the weather turned. Now we're proceeding into C now. And let's just have a little look who we've got in Group C, Jason.
Yep, so in Group C, as the boats then, as we watch, being craned in and out of the racecourse. But yeah, Group C then, we've watched Group B, which did prove to be quite tough. So Group C then goes as follows. So we've got in boat 36, Rashid Al Taya. We've got in from the UAE. We've got in boat 3, Owen Jelf from Great Britain. We've got Monser Al Mansours in from the UAE as well, and we've got Konstantin Ustinov from Russia in boat number 20, Philippe Tour from France in boat 44, and there is no Mike Shimura because a bit of an accident earlier on this morning, but we do have the local man, the man really of the moment here this weekend, the man who's put the whole show together here, Edgaras Rybako from Lithuania, and one of the other fast men, and I think, John, we have to keep our eyes on this man, Tobias Montke from Norway, boat 77, very, very quick this morning.
Yeah.
I think...
Could this be Toby's season? We know he's fast, he's qualified in pole positions, and then he's blown it. Could this be where he's matured and he can go out and put things together? He spoke to me this morning, he sounded very, very confident, very assured. Let's see.
Yeah, but sometimes the driver, you know, they have a few rough years, don't they? And then it all comes together. And yeah, maybe this is the year for Tobias Montkas. As we now look down the...
And of course, coming from Norway, he'll be used to this type of weather.
Yep, at home. So the conditions probably just about right then for him.
Now, I'm just looking at your iPad. Your wife hasn't stopped messaging you. Did you want to have a quick chat?
No, I better not. So second fastest then, Daniel Segenmark from that Group B session. So he'll be pleased. You know, you were saying that the boat was handling awfully and whatever, but he'll be happy with that then.
Yeah. If you're a betting man in Group C, will it be Ryabko or Toby Montkas?
Personally, I think, I don't know, on Ryabko, I think the pressure here this weekend has got to be absolutely enormous. You know, you've got the home crowd pressure, you've got the pressure of putting on the whole event. He looked, I have to say, pretty cool all weekend, and I don't think sort of he looked, you know, he doesn't look phased. But I guess it's different when, you know, I've seen it before when people have organised things and they're racing themselves and it's all gone a bit pear-shaped.
Yeah, I'd never get involved in organising a race myself.
Not at all, John. So, Tobias, I guess then if I was a betting man, my money would be on 77. So let's see what can he do.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. And off the screen for you, but I can see that Ryabko's boat is the final boat to be craned in, and he's just dropping into the water now.
So there we see Q1 B.
Yeah, and then just walking up the pontoon is the very sexy pit marshal, Jason Brewer.
Just a slight hat adjustment from him. So yeah, so Stefan Hagen, you can see at the top of the screen then, 48 seconds flat. Can anyone beat that time in this Group C?
Yeah, sorry, I was once again looking off screen. I was looking at Jason. He looks like a Brit on holiday in Benidorm, doesn't he?
He's having fun there.
Mm.
You can just pick him up on the screen, I think. So Let's see what happens. Group C, it's nice to have groups A, B and C. A lot of drivers, as I said, initially 26 entries for the first round of the UIM Formula 2 opening round here in Kaunas.
Now, Jason, I had lunch with a couple of the racers today, but I saw you had a lunch with a couple of Lithuanian blondes. What was that happening there?
Yeah, one was Pele.
Ah.
You join us back then for Group C for Q1. A lot of qualifying to get through here today, so we're still at Q1, but this is Group C. As we look at the crowd, taking on board the atmosphere and the tension, I think.
She doesn't look very happy, though, does she?
I think it's the shades are hurting her head, I think, there.
Do you think it was that, or perhaps her driver didn't make it through and went into the repechage? Who could tell?
Nikita Leak's team look happy from their result to make it through into Group 2 to Q2. So now we wait patiently for Q3 to happen. That's the team, I think, to beat this weekend, though, the Abu Dhabi team.
Without a doubt, it's the team to beat in F1H2O, in XCAT racing and in Formula 2. And in the Premier League, because, of course, Abu Dhabi own Manchester City.
I think Guido Cappellini was talking about playing for Manchester City. He's looking rather trim these days after a lot of cycling.
Well, in this wind, with the amount of weight he's lost, he could blow away.
Yeah, but he's looking good, though. So slight adjustments, and we were just having a quick glance then at Edgaris's boat. The cowling is off. I can see off screen just... that's never good news, just as you go into a qualifying session. Just look at Ola Pedersen there, after he's Q2, but just off screen. Some drama going on.
Kas niekados nebuvęs vandenyje, niekados nesupras, kad ir 70, ir 50 km/h yra milžiniškas greitis.
What's up with the...
Dviejų vietų formulė. Jeigu nespėj šiandien, tą galima atlikti rytoj.
Na, žiūrovai mėgaujasi šią pramogą, tai tikrai.
Taip, už tam tikrą, manau, prieinamą mokestį galime pajusti.
Now I've got Brent Dillard's radio man Matthew Porfman with me. Matt, what do you think the problem was and why couldn't Brent qualify?
Oh, we went back to the wrong propeller, to be honest with you. We started with a good qualifying propeller and we believed we were struggling a little bit, so the team made a decision to move back to what is a race propeller, but ultimately it was the wrong decision. I think it was one just made, I think maybe a little bit too quick. Maybe we should have just stayed out on what we had. But we just could not get back to the same lap times that we had on the qualifying propeller, and ultimately we missed out by like 0.06, but we start from the back.
Well, you start from the repechage.
Yeah, that's just testing, isn't it, for the race?
It gives you more work to do on the radio tomorrow.
Well, there is that.
I have to say though, Matt, did Brent sort of moan about the conditions out there? Was it getting worse? We thought perhaps it was getting worse as that session went on.
He didn't mention anything. I think ultimately the conditions have been up and down all day, so I think with the 90-minute session we had this morning, at any point it was changing, so I think they were just used to that today. I think it's going to be interesting. For me, it'll be interesting when we get down to Q3. You know, the guys are going to end up pushing that extra percentage, so it'll be interesting to see where they are in Q3. Because, like you said, it's like a 40-minute session, so the conditions could change massively from the guy that goes out first to the guy that goes out last. Could be good, could be bad for you, but you know that will be the interesting factor.
The other interesting factor, I think, though, is that he's brought the Moore boat here this weekend, not the DAC. You've probably had enough of that question this weekend, but we'll just ask it one more time, perhaps.
Yeah, no, I think he's done a lot of time in the DAC, but ultimately they were getting it ready for, he was quite comfortable, in like a race condition, you know, with the race propellers. When you get to a certain speed, the boat was releasing out the water, which is ultimately when it's at its fastest, and I think you'll see that today from the 2 rashes in Abu Dhabi, and you will see the speed difference of when that boat releases out the water, and he just didn't feel comfortable with it just yet, so back to they're flying back now. I think Brent's going back to the States for 3 weeks, and then he's coming back to do some more testing before Norway, and hopefully we'll bring the DAC.
And that's the key thing for powerboat racing, is that testing, you know it yourself.
Yeah, and they've done a lot, to be fair. They've done a lot of testing on the boats, testing on the motors, propellers, you know. Brent just doing laps in it, you know, trying to get up to as many as Alberto did, and quite clearly it does obviously help you. He just needs to feel comfortable, and I think that'll give him them extra tenths that he needs in that DAC.
Now, Matt, you mentioned Rashid there, and we've just move on to that subject. He's had a 46.41 in the Group A. That was quick. Has he got more to go?
I think you're always going to have more, but looking at that lap, I'm watching Rashid all day, and obviously watching him for seasons. He's got that boat where he wants. He feels comfortable in that boat. You can see that's the boat that he ultimately ran. I don't know if anybody knows, but that is the green and black boat, I think it is. You know, the other Rashid's moved to a new boat, but Rashid Al Khamzi's comfortable in that older boat, and you can quite clearly see he's massively faster. Ultimately, we've had the discussion, this race is Rashid Al Khamzi's to lose. 2 seconds in Q1, it's crazy. Wait till Q2, I think he'll still be a second and a half faster. In Q3, I think he'll be unbelievable, to be fair.
Matt, thanks very much for joining us, and we go into the Group C.
So here we go then, and so Group C then, as we said, Rashid Al Taya, Owen Jelf, Mansour Mansour, Konstantin Ostanov, Philip Tor, and Garis Roberto and Tobias Monthgas there will all make it out.
Jason, you're so cold, you're having a bit of a problem with the pronunciation now, aren't you?
Yeah, all sorts.
Yeah.
Baltic.
Okay, Riabco is now out on the track, and on your screen, 41, sponsored by the Helberman Group, who are a logistics company based here in Lithuania, and they've also supported this event.
Conditions out there at the moment. It looks fairly flat from where we're sitting at the moment. You can see there on your screens, but it's a different story out there though. I bet it might be slightly different. But at the moment, to be fair, the wind has dropped off, so we'll see if anyone can improve on the Group B time. 48 seconds, that was the fastest in Group B. This is Group C then, as we watch now. So there's Tobias in boat number 77, Motvkas. What can he do? He's the man I've got the money on in this session. Riabco, probably will pull something out of the bag, but as long as they're in the top 5, it doesn't really matter. The 20-minute session then has started. We're starting.
Now, as Matthew was just saying, you've got a Rashid Al Taya there in the 36 Abu Dhabi boat in a new DAC. As Matthew was just saying, whereas Al Khamzi is racing in his old tried and tested World Championship winning hull.
Yeah, maybe they don't think they've done enough testing perhaps with the new boat. It's slightly different. They've got, as you can see, fins on the front of the boat with the improvement of aerodynamics after the boat going in a wind tunnel. So we will see what he can do. Can he? You know, teammates, great rivalry between teammates. Oh, and someone just off screen having a bit of a moment, but we'll talk about that in a moment. So certainly the victory boat having all sorts of problems as we go. We'll have a look at Philippe Tour from France, and then Tobias Mumfkas. And now dialing themselves in then for a 20-minute session.
And we've got Britain's Owen Jelf out there this afternoon. His team of Big Phil and Rob Bowyer on the pontoon here in front of us.
Of course, Massimo Ruggiero, full support, of course, from him as well, the boat builder. And it would be good to see Owen actually produce something in this, and I'm hoping at the moment to see his name at the top of the screen. And at the moment he is at the top of the screen, but as we know, they're not fully dialed in yet.
Yeah, but Jelf's posted a 49.42, which at the moment is enough to give him the top spot in Group C.
So at the moment he is the man to beat. We will now see the times go down from now on.
Yep, Houston off pops in a 50.84. Ryabko's best currently is 51.78.
So we watch then the Lithuanian going up the course. So you can see then the air just getting underneath the boat then of Mumfkas as he now settles the boat into the corner, takes it wide, but I think he's on a run-in.
And he's set the fastest time, he's set a 47.38. Altair, he's posted a 47.78.
So they're quicker then, aren't they, than the Group B, so
yeah,
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Coincidentally then, and it does mean that Owen Jelf is now knocked down to third, but you know, we're only a few minutes into the session, so it doesn't really matter at this stage. A flying lap certainly from Mumfkas.
Well, we suspected the battle would be between Ryabko and Munkath, but it looks like it could be between Altair and Munkath.
So Altair, can he do? Because Altair at the moment, let's see, second fastest, 47.78. So he's also on it as well, you know. Great team rivalry, or in-house team rivalry then between the two of them. Two Abu Dhabi drivers, but at least they're in separate groups. So Philippe Tour in the safe zone at the moment, 49.25 as Ed Ellis there, number 41. Dialing himself in still, and the times reflect on that. Some time on the test wheel also this morning. Look at Britain's Owen Jelf then, boat number 3, Jelf Racing. Round the right-hander. So Owen's got a little bit of space just in front of him, so you know, we could see something come out of Owen Jelf as yet. Well, at the moment, no need to do anything dramatic. He's in the safe zone at the moment, 49.03. He won't be happy with that because he knows that won't be fast enough. But he has clear water ahead of him. As we now look at the screen, number 20 then. So Ostinov, not in the, well, he's in the safe zone, but only just. He's 5th fastest at the moment as Owen Jelf comes down towards us. But pulling off the racecourse and into the pit lane, so probably just going to watch now and assess the situation. He's safe at the moment, no need to put mileage on the engine, and he'll probably sit out the next couple of laps or so, maybe a propeller change. But Altair there you can see just in the background now on a flyer as Owen Jelf then back to the pit area. See then in the picture that Metti's looking on with interest. Got a problem, I think, somewhere on the racecourse.
Yeah, this is off screen, but we have had an incident at the back of the course.
So that's going to wreck Tobias's lap. As the yellow flag. You'll see. And from here, it looks to be Altea who has lost it between the right-hander and the top turn.
Yeah, it was Altea, and you can now see on the pictures.
He was pushing hard. He was actually second fastest at the moment because he was on a 47.78. He was on a flying lap because his previous lap was a 1:04. So Altea, well, that's never good. He's blown it as far as that's concerned, but not necessarily, because if no one beats that time, I guess, you know, he'll still avoid the repechage.
I would think 47.78 will be good enough to push him into Q2.
Got to be pretty safe, isn't it?
The other good thing, of course, he's all okay, and he's just jumped out of his race boat into the safety. So he gets a taxi back to the pontoon, whilst his Abu Dhabi DSC gets a tow. The rescue team of Latvia arriving swiftly and doing their duty, which obviously holds up the session.
And I think with this incident and this morning, it does prove how immensely strong these boats are these days. And good to see that Altea is okay and on the rescue boat. And probably now going to have a chat with Cappellini, I would imagine.
Yeah, to see what
went wrong.
On that boat.
And that's the new boat as well, isn't it? It's the new DAC.
Yeah,
so,
and it now looks to be going down. So it's obviously got hull damage. So
we did see earlier that...
have they got a line on that?
I'm not so sure.
No. Might be an idea, don't you think? Because it's quite deep out there.
Yeah, may look quite buoyant at the moment, but they obviously realise that, well, in they go anyway. So the rescue then on hand on that scenario.
It's giving our Lithuanian commentator plenty to talk about to the television. He was telling me last night that he's a YouTube influencer. I hadn't got a clue what that meant, and I just wondered if he had any influence with the barman so he could hurry him up.
Did he?
No. He was drinking water, wasn't he?
He was. A little bit like Rashid there, who also
was
drinking water. Well, the spectators certainly been spoilt here so far today with action, but we don't really like to see action like that. And look at the front pickle, I just noticed on the front of the boat. There's the good sight of Rashid there, talking to the rescue, talking to the medics. And 101 things would be going through his head, but probably how's the boat is normally the first thing.
Yeah. And they'll take him away for a quick checkup. Paras have been quite busy today.
Well, hopefully we will see that boat in the repechage, or not, maybe not in the repechage, but hopefully later this weekend. Hopefully that's not the end of the weekend for one of the Abu Dhabi drivers. And of course, the Formula 2 teams all very, very professional. They've all got their carbon fibre repair kits on board with them, so there'll be some work going on overnight, no doubt, to fix that boat. But it is a lot of work for the pit crew, of course, the engine.
And there you can see the British Gulf team. Big Phil looking great.
Not as great as that propeller that they just put back in the box. So he's obviously come in for a prop change.
Yeah.
As as he exits the pits. Owen Jelf, the most experienced driver out on the race course. Also the Formula 2 UIM drivers rep. A lot of experience on the shoulders then of Owen Jelf, and he'll be thinking now, right, so this is my moment. Of course, it's clear of boats, obviously not clear of debris at the moment, but it will be soon. So at the moment we are still under a yellow. Mr. Bias Monthcalf there in the pits at the moment, just reflecting on what he's done so far with that 47.38. And he's done it on the he's only done 6 laps, he's done it on the 3rd lap. So Edgaris there, noticing that the engine cowling off the boat. So does that suggest maybe some technical issues there for the local driver? Possibly. Let's hope not, though.
And there's his fan club. Fannies, as I think they probably know.
I think it is, yeah.
Yeah. Which probably means different things in America and Britain.
So we're just picking up on where that boat's on the race course. It's now being towed off, of course.
So we're coming up to 20 past 5 here, local time in Kaunas, Lithuania. I'm ever so proud I can pronounce Kaunas now.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah, I asked some Lithuanians to help me out with that one. I felt that Kaunas didn't quite sound correct.
I think I was coming like with Kunis or something like that. So, but
now I'm wondering whether we are going to see that session restarted, because they've got the Q2 boats all ready to rock and roll.
yeah, that's quite interesting, because we were nowhere near finishing that session. Maybe have they had a word with the drivers? Certainly, I think Owen Jelf.
I'll go and find out the information from the radio tent. I'll be right back.
At the moment, we're just watching a few replays of that very brief Group C session. As the spectators look on. Time is now ticking away in this session. Just a few minutes remaining. As we see the Latvian rescue team then just bringing back the stricken DAC. As John returns, hot filling it from the radio tent.
I had to do that to warm up, just have a little run. I just spoke to Pelle Larsen, and they will be commencing the Group C. And currently we're under yellow.
The drivers will just want to get on with it, and I think that's probably why Owen's gone out onto the race course. In the meantime, Edgaris has got his engine cowling back on, which is always good news. Which means that he's going to be ready and fired up and ready to go.
You know, obviously they were waiting to get this Abu Dhabi boat back, but it has taken a bit of a while, hasn't it? And yeah, it's not just the drivers in Group C that want to get on with it. It's the drivers that are getting ready for Q2. They're all sitting on the pontoon in their boats, ready to go.
Yep, and it can seem an eternity when you're just sitting on a start pontoon, wanting to get on with your session. But at the moment they're sitting there, they're waiting patiently. But we do have the conclusion, of course, of Group C to come.
And obviously this rescue team that we have out there is from Hungary. I think I said earlier it was Latvia. I do apologise, Hungary.
And we said Latvia because...
it had Latvia written down the side of the boat.
Absolutely.
But I have been informed by someone that please say it was Hungary.
And the Hungarian rescue team, of course, have been around F2 for many, many years. Alec, who looks after all things rescue, and his team making a good job of recovering 2 or 3 boats here this morning. Altea's boat then now recovered and on the crane. So I think, what have we got? Do you reckon about 2 minutes left before the rescue are back out on station? And then we'll be off and away again. But a couple of drivers then choosing to sit out on the race course rather than here on the start dock. And they're going to be probably at a bit of an advantage because they're going to be up and dialed in and up and gone, aren't they? So we'll talk about the drop-off zone. So Montcalf's is okay. Rashid Altea, even though the incident is okay as well, in the safe zone. Owen Jelf, 3rd, so he's okay as well. And Philippe Tour from France and Ostinov are all okay. So 3 drivers in the dropout zone at the moment. And Edgaris, I think he'll want to be getting on with this, otherwise he could find out himself in the repechage.
Okay, Pelly's blown the whistle.
So it's go, and
obviously there's a delay on the screen, so there you are, Ryabko out on the track, first one out.
So he's going to make full advantage of this then. So Ryabko makes his way out towards the right-hander. He will put in a flying lap to follow Philippe Tour from France, who lays 4th at the moment. Ostinov there in boat number 20, who's 5th. Although not in the danger zone, he very well could soon find himself in that drop-off point as we carry on then with the session. So we were very early on into that session, so we have roughly about 18 minutes or so remaining. The time, of course, frozen in that session. Not frozen, we're actually, 18 minutes gone into the session, so this is a bit of a shootout, John, with not many minutes left.
Indeed, and I think that's why Ryabko was straight off the blocks there to try and set a time.
So we now see Owen Jelf then, and Owen at the moment, as things stand, is quite safe, but he's now coming up to the long start-finish straight, so he rounds the turn as we cut away.
And he set a best of 51.09 and comes in immediately.
Yeah, that's not good enough, and he knows that's not good enough. And, well, at this point, he's going to be in a repechage race, and that would be an absolute disaster for him.
What are they going to try? Prop? It's looking like they're looking at the business end.
They certainly are, and here we go. We'll wait and see what happens. Do they go for the engine cowling, or do they go a little bit deeper into the water? At the moment, not a lot. Here comes the propeller.
Yeah. 4-blader going
How
on there.
long does it take to change a prop on a Formula 2?
Yes, that's a good point, isn't it?
Because we haven't got long left.
You'd hate to drop it, wouldn't you?
Don't even go there. So while that's happening, watch the victory boat then out there. So Mansour Al-Mansouri.
So Toby from Norway still the quickest in this session with a 47.38. Altea, he posted a 47.78 before his incident. And Owen Jelf, he's on 48.77.
Just to recap then, this is Q1 Group C, and then we will go into pretty much straight away, I'm pretty sure, into Q2. Most of the boats are ready. We just need to sort out the remaining 5 boats, and the whistle has gone.
So this could be that we have lost local hero Agaris Ryabko, and he will be in tomorrow's repechage. This is a huge, huge shock.
Yeah, what a blow then for the local man, the organiser of the event, and I did fear that the pressure might be on, and certainly something then was
Jason, you
down.
did. You've been calling it, haven't you?
I did call that one, and well, you know, I didn't want to put
Jinx
the crunch.
it.
Well, yeah,
Yeah.
I've jinxed it. But yeah, it's happened, and it's happened right before our eyes, and that is bad, bad news. The prop change was too late. I don't know what's going to happen. Repechage race probably will be okay, I think, but it's going to put him all out of sync for tomorrow's Grand Prix, of course.
That repechage race is worth watching on its own, isn't it? There's some big names in that.
Yeah, it's not a case of the best of the rest. It's some of the best in the repechage race. As we watch Owen Jelf, he can just relax a little bit for a short time. He was third fastest in that session, 48.77, as you can see now. The official end of the session, the red flag being shown then from the rescue.
Now tell us about Q2.
So yeah, so we've got Q2 coming up then. It's a slightly shorter time, so it is 15 minutes then for Q2, and we're looking to...
So 15 minutes for 15 boats.
15 minutes, 15 boats, and we're looking to bin 5 of them, shall we say, to go into the shootout of 10 boats for Q3. So it's all to play for. It's all happening here.
And hopefully it will stay light long enough for us to get done.
What time? I've not really noticed what time it gets dark here.
That's a good point.
That's a good point. We're too busy in the bar at that point.
We were in a very dark pub, I think.
So Philippe Tour from France, and I remember 10 years ago when he purchased an Optimax, which was one of the first Optimaxes in Formula 2. And back then, of course, they were still running the old SST 120 block, but my goodness, hasn't it moved on? And John, I think the Optimax, I don't know, how long is this particular engine, this make of engine, going to stick around in F2, do you think?
Sami Celio said in the drivers' meeting this morning that potentially the Opti could hang around for quite a while in Formula 2. However, we know in F1 H2O, the Mercury 4-stroke will be used next year. That 4-stroke motor is 60 kilograms heavier than the current ones they're running in F1 H2O. And I was talking to David Moore, who's already now starting to build boats for next season, bigger boats to support the heavier motor.
Yep, so a lot of adjustment then. You can't really just plonk one of these on the existing holes, I guess, because it's just really going to be awful to handle.
Yeah,
isn't
it's going to be a steep learning curve, I think, in F1 H2O, and an expensive one. But in F2, where we are now, it looks as if they're going to try and keep these Optis. Mercury still have plenty of bits and pieces for them. So as we currently wait for Q2 to get underway. Abu Dhabi's Guido Capellini holding the pole there on the 35 boat, the quickest boat this afternoon so far.
So we look down then on the grid for Q2. 15-minute session then. As we just sort out the drivers in this next qualifying session. So Q2 then. And we can see some of the other spectators from the wildlife. Interestingly enough, actually, just while we were off air, you just see the test wheel that's been taken down the start pontoon to Ryabko's boat. The engine cowling's off, and obviously something's going to happen there, but it's too late for today. But certainly make the most of the time, and you can see now on the screens all sorts of activity going on Edgaris's boat as we now. Look at Uwe Slakteris making it through to Q2. A great effort then from both himself and long-time fellow competitor of Owen Jelf. Those two have gone through many, many years together of Formula 2. Once again here, though, the wind has dropped as the whistle has now been blown. And it's all systems go. So drivers then in the next session, Rashid Al-Kwamzi. And then we have Uwe Slakteris, Bart Benevente, Oscar Samuelsson, Ferdinand Zandbergen, Stefan Hagen, Daniel Segenmark, Johan Osterberg, Nikita Leeks, Ola Pedersen, Tobias Mopfkas, Rashid Altaya, who probably won't be in this one after the incident in that last session, and Owen Jelf, and Mansour Al-Musuri, and then Philippe Tour. All make it through. They are the 15 boats, but only 10 of them will go through to the shootout. Who will be the 5 that will be dropped off? Go out of the pit lane and now beginning to dial themselves in. And Daniel Segenmark has done very well, in fact, in that Q1. But here is the fastest man of them all. Rashid Al-Kemzi. Wonder what he can do. He's obviously knows he is the fastest man. He will have seen, of course, what happened to his teammate. Definitely don't want that to happen to him. So it's a case of survival, really. It's a case of get through this, don't end up in the dropout zone, don't end up in the bottom 5, and make it through to the shootout. The shootout really does promise to be quite something else. So we've got the best 26 drivers here in the world in Formula 2. As Zandenbergen then makes it out of the pit lane. Of course, part of the Sharjah team, headed, of course, by Formula 1 superstar Sami Salio. They had a bit of a race, actually, on the way to the race circuit between themselves and Bart Benevente. And I think it was Sami Salio's team who won the day there. So competitive, not even on the, not as well as being at the circuit, but also off the circuit. So we look at Philippe Tour. So the drivers then now dialing themselves in, and I think all 15 boats went away from the start grid. So I think we've got pretty much a full circuit, which means it's going to be busy those first few minutes. And remember, we've lost 5 minutes out of the session because it's dropped from 20 minutes to 15 minutes. There's going to be a lot of traffic there, I think, certainly for the first 5 minutes.
Sure. Now, one of the shocks this afternoon was Brent Dillard failed to qualify and will be in tomorrow's repechage. I've just had a chat with Brent. He had a couple of problems. One, he was out on a race prop where he didn't have the speed, but then they've subsequently found a problem with the power head, and they believe they're down on power. So they're now going through the options. Do they change the power head overnight to get set up for tomorrow's repechage? But at the moment, it's not a happy camp there in the Dillard financial team, and there's a lot of head scratching going on.
Yeah, and it must be so frustrating after doing so much testing. They tested, they prepared well before the event, and then for it to go wrong with, probably find out later on it was something stupid, and it's just so frustrating.
Brent just described it to me, it's almost like a snowball effect. So one thing went wrong and then this, and then it's just compounded, and he's not pleased at the moment.
Yeah, so I'm not even sure if he's going to watch this Q2 with us, or if he's going to be busy with the boat. I guess that I probably want to watch some of it, but at the same time he probably also feels that he should be out there with the rest of them. But John, that's the way sometimes how powerboat racing goes. If that card is turned and it's not your day, it can be very, very cruel.
Yeah, and the other big name, as we've talked about, Edgaris Ryabko also has had issues. And I'll go and catch up with Ryabko in a minute. And
I should say, that's what makes tomorrow in the repechage race really, really interesting. So,
And back to Q2, Rashid Al-Khemzi, he's posted the quickest time of 49.39. And of course, he was far quicker than that. He had a 46.41 in Q1. Johan Osterberg is second quickest on the 49.42. Ferdinand Zandbergen, 49.50. All these times at the moment, though, are going to be improved.
Yeah, so a new boat for Osterberg this season. Let's see if it will work for him. And certainly at the moment, it seems to be working for him. Second then in this session so far, Zandenbergen, third fastest, so it's all happening for Sharjah team at the moment. But we'll go back and we'll look, see what's happening on the race course. So Slatcher is finding himself in a little bit of traffic at the moment with Benavente just ahead of him. In fact, he knows that, and he's now backed off just to give himself a little bit of breathing space.
We've got a new quickest time, Toby Munkath. He's posted a 48.62.
So now I think we're going to see the times. What do you reckon? Do you reckon we're going to see anything like the 46.41 or?
Well, I suspect it's possible. This wind's dropped again. We've got better conditions. Now, obviously, 10 boats will go through into Q3, into the shootout out of the 15 that are on the track. Of course, one of those boats that definitely won't go through will be Rashid Al Taya, although he's on the classifications. His boat was too badly damaged to get into this session. So unlike F1 H2O, we won't be seeing an Abu Dhabi lockout on 1-2.
And it does mix the grid up, of course, as well. And, let's see, Tobias is...
And Al-Khemzi has now posted a best of 48.16 on this session. And he's gone quickest.
Compare that with the second fastest then, with 48.62 for Tobias Mofkas then. So, you know, there's not much between them. And then who else is in the 48? So 48.85 as Johan Osterberg. So, you know, it's all close stuff. The top three very, very close together. And then Sandenberg just not quite through the 49-second barrier just yet. But we're looking at Monfkas at the moment in number 77. And I think, you know, it could. He's going to be safe, I think, hopefully, in Q2, and it'll be one of the boats, I'm pretty sure, to make it through into the 10-boat Q3 shootout. So we're 5 minutes in to the 15-minute session. As we watch, and you can see for yourselves then how busy it is out on the water there. As Rashid then just taking it wide, he's now trying to find some space on the water, but at the moment there's so many boats out on the racecourse, it's going to be a little bit of a job to pick some space. In fact, I'm looking just down the field, just the boats behind him. If he lets Stefan Hagen through and if he lets Owen Gel through, he could then pick his own space perhaps. And I think that's what he's going to try and do, and maybe he'll just back off at the top there. But Al-Kemzi now does exactly that, and you can see Hagen and Stefan Hagen going through and passing him. It's all happening at the top end of the racecourse, and you can see now, and this is what they do, they try and find the space, they pick the space, they can then post a flying lap. At the moment, John, I don't know, it seems almost a little bit pointless to try and find some space because he's fastest anyway. He's safe.
Yeah, for sure. He just popped that 48.16 in for fun, didn't he? We know he's got more.
He's now having some more fun now. Let's see, he's got Ella Pedersen then just ahead. But watch out because Rashid is coming through. You can just see...
He's off screen, but he's on a charge, which we can see out there.
So Ola Pedersen then, he's safe, he's third fastest at the moment, so that's good news for Ola.
The screen just showing what we were looking at as Rashid Al-Kemzi flew past Pedersen. Let's keep an eye on his lap time, on Al-Kemzi's time.
So we're looking at Pedersen, but I'm going to talk about Osterberg because he's just gone fast as well and done his fastest time of 48.44, which puts him second fastest at the moment. So that's happened off screen as we look on screen then. And Samuelson in boat number 10, Oscar Samuelson, right down at the field at the moment, but he moves up slightly, but still in the dropout zone as we talk to you. And in fact is 12th fastest. And Tobias Monfkas then, 4th fastest at the moment. He's now approaching the right-hander with what looks to be like Pedersen just ahead of him.
Yeah, Osterberg and Pedersen separating Al-Kemzi from Cass. 48.16 the best there for Rashid Al-Kemzi in the Abu Dhabi boat. 2017 UIM F2 World Champion. Looking to reclaim his title this year after 20-year-old Alberto Comparato snatched it away last.
We're just watching Osterberg on screen at the moment, just running wide and running slow down the start-finish straight.
And we've got off screen.
Yep, off screen we've got, you'll see it in a moment, the stricken boat then of Uwe Slakterus. And we'll pick that up again as Osterberg will pass him. And that happens now.
There you go.
And that's frustrating, of course, for Uvers because he done well to get into Q2 and he was,
for sure.
He was doing well. So we're looking at Nikita Leaks at the moment. So Nikita then has gone second fastest.
Wow.
So that's good.
Wow.
That's 48.16. Totally pulled it out of the bag, John, from somewhere.
Amazing. Exactly the same speed as Al Kemsi.
So there's more left, I think, in Nikita Leaks, and you know, he's one of the new guys really on the block in F2.
Absolutely. It's going to be one to watch, isn't he?
I think so. He could play a major role in, you know, especially as some of the bigger boys are left in that repechage tomorrow.
Well, he's heading for the shootout, but what we do know is Rashid Ataya and Ulvis Sakteris will not be in the shootout, which means 3 boats. 3 other boats will drop out, and it looks at the moment to be Samuelson, Toure and Mansouri. The Victory team not having a good weekend again here. Victory, who've been uber dominant in offshore over the years, won absolutely everything. Their time in circuit racing in both F1 H2O and F2 has been difficult.
Going back to Slacterus, once again another big name in that repechage race tomorrow.
Hagen posted the quickest on a 47.40.
Now it's getting fast, now it's getting exciting, isn't it?
Yeah, now we're seeing the proper times. Hagen from Al Kemsi, Nikita, Daniel Segermark and then Johan Ostenberg, top 5.
So Nikita Leakson would have been told on the radio that he's gone fast as, well, Rashid Al Kemsi then has an answer, 47.29 now.
And he just pops another one in there because he can.
Absolutely. And I'm wondering actually, so when we go to the shootout later on in Q3, 46.41 which he set in the initial Q1, I think that's kind of a good benchmark.
That's our benchmark.
That is our benchmark.
That's our quickest time of the weekend so far, and I think that's in the shootout. That's what they've got to be aiming for, isn't it? But currently, Al Kemsi leads Hagen, and Daniel Segermark pots in a 48.08, which is best good enough for 3rd. Ola Pettersson drops to 4th. Nikita Leaks in 5th. And those in the danger zone, Owen Jull, Philip Toure and Mansour Mansouri.
So Ola Pettersson then on a flyer at the moment as he goes into the turn, exits cleanly out of the corner here, almost a hairpin turn down at the dam end of the racecourse. He now heads off to the right-hander as we now pick up Philippe Tour. Well, let's have a look. Who else we've got? The 2 blue boats. One, of course, is the Victory team, and the other one is the Jelf Racing team boat. And we know, as you said earlier, John, that Owen Jelf in that dropout zone, as is Mansour Mansouri.
Yeah.
So Segermark then, we're watching him. 3rd fastest at the moment, 48.08. No need to push things too far at the moment. We are now 13 minutes or so into the session.
On a 15-minute session, so just slightly over that, I guess. It looks as if Al Kemsi's done enough. Hagen will be pleased with his 47.40 for sure. Toby Muntkas, 48.05, yeah, 3rd. But perhaps he felt he could go slightly quicker, I think. We've got a top 10, I think. If you'd have said this yesterday, you would be quite surprised, apart from, of course, 35 boats of Al Kemsi.
Times are still bouncing around the top 4 or 5 drivers. It could be anybody. It wasn't so long ago we were saying Nikita Leaks was 2nd fastest, but now for your information he's actually now 6th fastest with Johan Osterberg, who put in an early pace, now 7th fastest. So that's the fuel. I guess the boats are getting a little bit lighter, they're getting a little bit more speed out. There would have, of course, been prop changes. Conditions, I don't know, I think the conditions are probably about the same, aren't they, John?
But I think the sort of the 47, 48 handles telling us everything. We know where they need to be. They need to be in the 46s.
So Rashid then, he's out there again just to prove another point. Could this be the lap that he gets under the 47-second barrier? Not that he needs to just keep it on. Maybe this is preparation now for the shootout. Who knows what's going on, but...
Yeah, just off screen for anyone watching from Latvia, Slakteris has just come past us. It looks like a technical issue with his motor. He's got a toe in.
And of course, sometimes these engines just go into what they call shutdown mode or safety mode. And
Guardian mode.
Yeah, maybe that's what's happened there, but it's still not going to stop the frustration of either Slakteris.
All this software, it's overrated, isn't it?
It is overrated. So Stefan Hagen then, as we watch him out on the racecourse, second fastest with a 47.40. He knows he's safe, and of course the radio man will now be telling him, it's okay, Stefan, you can now relax a bit, you're going to make it through for sure into Q3, into the shootout, and that's why he's now slowing down as we now look at Ola Pedersen. Far end of the racecourse. 46.65 for Rashid Al-Khemzi. So he goes faster. So what a lap then, John. 46.65, not quite the 46.41, but still a sensational lap from Rashid Al-Khemzi then.
Yeah, right at the last, he decides, I'll just pop another one in just to show you. And as he just off screen, and he just comes up to the pontoon, just in front of us.
And there's the whistle, so that's the end. So, oh, look at that. Owen Jelf just makes it through into the shootout.
Well, that'll please his British followers. He gets into the top 10, but that means that Oscar Samuelsson doesn't, Philip Torre doesn't, Mansour El Mansouri doesn't, and of course we knew that Uwe Slakteris, who had a technical issue, and Rashid Al-Taya, who of course damaged his boat severely in the Q1, also don't go through. So what have we got, Jason? Who's going through for the top 10?
Right, so top 10, it's Rashid Al-Khemzi, then it's Stefan Hagen, then Ola Pedersen, Tobias Mofkas, Daniel Segenmark, Nikita Leeks, Bart Benavente, then Johan Osterberg, Ferdinand Zandenberg, and the final boat in the shootout, but he'll be first to go because we do it in reverse order, of course, will be Owen Jelf from Great Britain.
Okay, so let's have a look on the pontoon and see if there's any propeller changes, which currently doesn't look to be the case. Rashid has got a huge smile on his face again. He just couldn't wait to get out of his boat, wandered up the pontoon, whilst his minions hold the poles. And here he is, Rashid.
Well, he disappeared. He was momentarily coming towards us, but he's just popped into the radio tent. Probably just to shake hands with his radio man as we just watch Ola Pedersen, who in that session then, well, he was third fastest with a 47.91, and Stefan Hagen then second fastest. You're looking at the second fastest driver then there. Boat number 19, Stefan Hagen, with a 47.40.
Well, I've got Rashid Al-Khemzi with me right now. Rashid, you've been super quick this afternoon.
Yeah, I feel very good on the boat. I feel that I can drive good, and I am happy, you know, from inside. When I am happy from inside, I can do my best for my team.
Now, you had a quicker time in Q1 than Q2. You had a 46.41 in Q1. Can you get sub 46?
Yeah, I try to push hard because it was traffic in the course, and I get 46. And in Q3, I hope to get less than 46.
That's great stuff. Well, very good luck, and I bet you're looking forward to pole position this evening.
Yes, sure. Thank you.
Thanks for speaking with us this afternoon.
So he feels he's got more in the boat. Wow, that's impressive. We thought we'd seen the best and the fastest lap, I think, from what we've just heard there. There is more to come. I think the shootout is going to be something. We're going to see 2 laps of perfection coming up within the next half an hour or so.
Yeah, it certainly seems that way, Jason, doesn't it? It's great for him to come and talk to us like that.
Yeah, well done, John, on just grabbing him by the throat and saying, come on here.
Yeah, another Powerboat Racing World scoop.
You heard it first here. So there you can see the results just flashing up there. The final results then for Q2. And as we said, a miserable time for Uwe Slakteris, who broke down right in front of us on the exit of this almost a hairpin turn down the far side of the racecourse where the dam is. I was talking earlier about off air about the river as we look at 10 times world champion Guido Cappellini. You know,
Yes,
he's got to be happy with his driver.
He doesn't weigh 10 tonne anymore, does he?
No, he's, as I said, lots of cycling has gone on over the winter months. And I wonder if he's got something else up his sleeve. Maybe he is getting himself race fit one day. A veterans race. We can drag Andy Elliott out, Jonathan Jones, and we can put them in a veterans race.
Yeah. Now, you were talking about this river. It's
Yeah.
the longest river in
Lithuania. So
yeah.
I think it was something like 1,000+ kilometres long. So
who knew Lithuania was that big?
Yeah. And it goes out to the Baltic Sea.
Now, our Lithuanian producers decided to put some, what's this, dance music on or something. Yeah. Perhaps we should go to a
all-night rave.
Yes. Yeah, working with this Lithuanian broadcast, I know how Graham Norton must feel now at the Eurovision Song Contest.
Nil point. Well, they'll be avoiding them at all costs this weekend. Turn boys that can cost an absolute fortune, especially at this top-end level of powerboat racing.
Yeah, and it's a long walk to the nearest ATM as well, isn't it?
It's the walk of shame as well, isn't it, to the ATM?
Yeah. Now, on the timing screen, on f2worldchamp.com/live-timing, we've got the top 10 up there. So it's in reverse order, of course. The slowest goes out first, and the slowest was Owen Jelf. Let's say who'll go out first, then Ferdinand Zandbergen, Johan Ostenberg, Duarte Benavente, Nikita Leeks, Daniel Sagenmark, Toby Moncath, Ola Pedersen, Stefan Hagen, and Rashid Al-Khemzi will be the last to go. Those 10 boats are all lined up onto the pontoon. The majority of the drivers are in them, apart from Rashid, who's up here having a cup of tea. I mean, that's relaxed, isn't it? They're sitting in their boats, and Rashid's here just having a cup of tea.
Super confident.
And there's a couple of bird watchers. They've got some binoculars.
Friends of Bill Oddie, I think.
Yeah.
So Sammy's got to be pleased with his man to get through to the Q3 as we watch.
Indeed. Sakenbach had, I think we'd probably say, a controversial race in Tonsberg last year. And I think he's probably pleased to be on the track and now proving that he's got the speed. So we're coming up to 2 minutes past 6 local time here in Kaunas.
And if you've just joined us, well, you're just in time for the final shootout of 10 boats, which will
You just saw on your screen there, Sylvia, she looks very busy, sitting down, not doing all right. I thought she was meant to be interviewing drivers, Jason.
She's meant to be grabbing them, but maybe they've done a runner.
Well, she has plenty of drivers trying to grab her, that's for sure.
They should have done role reversal then, perhaps, there. So the top 10 then will get themselves, this will decide of course tomorrow's race grid order. The pole position we think is done and dusted even before it starts, but you never know. And you've seen boats blow over backwards in the shootout.
Absolutely. And of course, Rashid was put under a lot of pressure last year by Alberto Comparato. As we can see, and we've said a few times now, he's incredibly relaxed, so he thinks he's got it in the bag.
Rob and Phil there, pit crew of Owen.
A plethora of Brits there with Britain's bearded Matthew Porferman. And our race director, Pelle Larsson from Sweden. Just making his point known.
A former racer himself, of course. Many years of experience. And last time I actually see him race F2 was back in, I think it was 2002, but in the UK, London Docks, when we had an F2 World Championship round there. And Pelle was back then competing in his familiar red boat number 6 Molgard.
The James Hunter powerboat racing.
Absolutely.
Well, apologies, I've had lots and lots of messages on Facebook and WhatsApp. Sorry I haven't been able to reply. The only one I did do was what time supper was tonight.
10:30 after Q3.
Local time.
But we hope you're all enjoying the broadcast here for the first time ever. We're live streaming as a duo for us two.
It's our first time together, yep. The Lithuanian team have obviously live streamed from here for the last couple of years, but they've just gone with the Lithuanian commentary. They wanted to go with English this year as a rollout. And obviously the Lithuanian commentators are going directly onto the television. I mean, actually, the Lithuanian commentator is really rather famous. I didn't realise.
Yeah,
he was signing autographs in the hotel last night.
He put us all to shame.
Yeah, I saw a plethora of people coming over and wanting an autograph. I obviously was going to oblige and realised they turned to him.
We're dealing with A-list celebrities in this part of the world.
So we've got Owen Jelf going out onto the track. Owen's got a couple of laps to put in. And just a little bit of info. With his Saxeris, it wasn't a technical issue. Bizarrely, he ran out of fuel after putting in 7 laps.
That's a major schoolboy error there. What happened there?
I did it a couple of weeks ago. I was going to Tesco and had to call out the AA.
Listeners who know me at home will know that I've done it many times in the past. So
probably says something about our financial standing, doesn't it, really?
So let's talk about Owen Jelf then. I mean, so this is the time when the drivers can really shine. They've got the water completely to themselves. We're looking then for 2 laps of perfection. These could be the 2 fastest laps of that particular driver of the weekend. This particular driver that we're looking at then is the most experienced Formula 2 driver we have here this weekend, if not ever. Owen Jelf, he was there right back in the day at the start of Formula 2.
Yep.
And he's coming towards us to start the flying lap of 2, the first of 2 then into the buoy turn.
Owen, who lives in Sandbanks in Dorset, originally from Kent.
Former Formula 4 world champion, I think it was back in 1988. He's been so close sometimes to also grabbing the F2 world championship title, never quite done it.
I actually first met him in '88, so I think he was just starting then.
So it was back in the day as such, but we're now watching him.
He's got that bubba flying.
So now into the final turn, and he skates the boat round the corner, and now it's maximum power down the straight, 690 metre straight then. Heading now down towards a slight kink in the circuit, and we'll take the time from now, and Owen Jelf goes 48 seconds exactly.
So it's good. but I don't think it's going to be good enough.
I don't think it's good enough at all. We know that Rashid has got something else up his sleeve. He can go faster than 46 seconds, we think. 48 probably does the 10th position in this session reflect the 10th position possibly on the grid. Let's hope not. Let's see if we can talk him up further up the grid then. Round at the top. Coming down the far side of the racecourse now. He skates it a little bit tighter this time. Air underneath the tunnel. There'll be radio communications saying that it was a good turn at the top there, but did he scrub off too much speed as we now watch him come past the start-finish line? Does he improve on the 48 seconds? And it was slower. It was 48.06.
That's disappointing, isn't it?
Oh, so frustrating for Owen. But, you know, hey, he made it through to Q3 and he's not in the repechage. So
no, absolutely, absolutely. And of course, with rapidly changing conditions, who knows? This 48 may well stand up.
Oh yeah, because you know yourself, the conditions could get worse. It could get windier. The chop could come, and then we've seen it in the past. You know, all sorts of things can.
But talking about the weather conditions, we've had a high pressure move in this last 10-20 minutes, and we've actually seen sun for the first time in 3 days.
Yeah, there it is. There's the sunshine.
Yep. Temperature's risen.
But John's still got his coat on.
I have. Actually, so have the Lithuanian commentators, so the locals are obviously feeling the cold as well.
So Ferdinand Zandenbergen. So Zandbergen out on the racecourse. Just dialing himself in before he makes that long straight at the top end of the racecourse, where he'll start to build up the speed for the run-in for the start-finish line to start the flying lap of 2 laps. So Zandbergen round at the top for the Sharjah team. Now begins to pile on the pressure, pile on the speed. 147 kilometres an hour down this straight that he's now about to start going down. And here we go then. So this is Zandbergen's flying lap. Full throttle, the engine at full chat now as they come past us. Shuts it down into the turn. Oh, and he lifts up. He accelerated out of the corner, John. He's lost seconds there because he put the boat nose, and that's not fast, is it? Trimming out too far.
No. Now we're looking at these times. Obviously, Zandbergen had that issue, but it's going to be interesting. The temperature has risen 6 degrees in the last 25-30 minutes. 6 degrees.
So that's going to make
risen.
That's going to make a major difference then, because now let's see what he can do. I think that lap could have been wrecked, this particular lap, because didn't get a very clean exit. So Zandbergen then coming down towards us. But he goes faster than Jelf with a 47.53. So let's see if he can improve as he now makes his way up towards the top end of the racecourse again. Let's see if he takes a clean turn round at the top there. The spray off the side of the boat. Flat out. You can. I wonder if he's going to drift it round this next corner, John, because he's coming round. Does he take it tight or drift wide? He took it tight there, John. So we watch the screen. 47.53 is his fastest. Let's see if he improves on that. 46.75. What an outstanding lap then.
Absolutely superb. Absolutely superb from Zandbergen. Flying Dutchman.
Absolutely is. So what a lap. 46.75. And that could take some beating.
Now, whilst the shootout goes on, Abu Dhabi are working on their 36 boat. And getting that motor sorted out in preparation for tomorrow's race.
So Johan Osterberg then has now gone out onto the racecourse to dial himself in for the 2 flying laps. Osterberg, with the new boat for him this season. And let's see how well that is going to work. So really his time at the moment to beat is the 46.75, just set then by Ferdinand Zandbergen. So now Osterberg is now on the throttle. Flat out then down towards us, down towards timing, down towards the start pontoon and everything else. And let's listen as he takes it. Now I'm not sure really, I think he may have cost himself a couple of seconds there, or at least 1 second, because it seemed to me that he took the turn as 2 corners almost. Up towards the right-hander, let's see how he gets on at the top. And let's see what the first time will be. So trims it in, you can see the drag of the boat, the spray coming off the side. Then it now looks nice and clean, doesn't it? Coming down the top end of the racecourse now, Osterberg. You can see the boat starting to dance a little bit on the water. Takes it fairly tight around the final turn, on the run in now to the start-finish line. Let's see then, 46.75 is the time to beat. What can Osterberg do about this? John, 47.
Yeah, 47.09.
So it's faster than Jelf, but not as fast as Zandbergen.
Well, nearly a second faster than Jelf, to put it into perspective.
So Osterberg round at the top once more. A final chance to improve on the 47.09 down the straight at the top end of the racecourse into the final turn, and then it's the start-finish line straight then. And a very clean turn then from Osterberg as he heads now down towards us. And you can see Osterberg, that boat is running flat, which means actually it's probably running very, very quick as he now finishes 46.97. So Osterberg, okay, he didn't beat Zandbergen, but you know, that was still a good time, isn't it?
It was a worthy lap, wasn't it?
I'll tell you what else it shows is when you've got clear water ahead of you, how much you can shave off your initial lap times if you're in traffic. So a good effort from Johan Osterberg and the AJO racing team.
I can barely hear you because obviously Abu Dhabi are working on Rashid Al Tayyar's motor. They're revving it just underneath us here.
Yeah, they have what we call a test wheel. It's basically a flat propeller, and they can put the engine under load to kind of dial it in. So if you can hear any background noise of a long droning Mercury engine, that's
blame Abu Dhabi.
Blame Guido, because that's what's happening just below us at the moment. So Duarte Benavente then out there. He is next to go on the shootout lap as we now look at Duarte. So what do you think? What are your feelings on Benavente, John?
We'll probably see him in the top 7, I'm guessing, on this afternoon. I think he'll be pleased to be in the top 10 for sure, initially. But we've got some pretty quick puppies coming up, haven't we?
Absolutely. It's going to be a pretty hot shootout when we start going down to the final 6. So Benavente at the top end of the racecourse, just off screen at the moment as we now join everybody in the radio tent. Duarte now starting to get on the gas and lifts the boat, and he's running very wide actually. But Benavente now makes the run in, and let's see what happens. It's a 2-lap shootout, and Benavente round at the pit turn. Exits the corner quite cleanly.
Well, basically.
Up to the right-hander then with Benavente. So the man and the time to beat still is that time of Zandbergen. So Zandbergen 46.75, the time to beat. round at the top then, Duarte Benavente.
Jason, I've got Guido Cappellini with me. Guido, you must be very pleased with where it's going at the moment.
For Abu Dhabi is perfect because Rashid is in a very good position. Unfortunately, Rashid Al Tayyer have one accident in the Q2, but okay, the condition for the driver is good, the boat is perfect, and tomorrow race again.
Can you tell us more about that accident?
I not have any idea because he's arriving, he's flying the buoy in the yellow buoy, but maybe, I don't know, maybe a little windy or, I don't know, but in any case, important that the driver not have any problem. And second, good news, that the boat also not have a problem.
Thank you very much, Guido.
So while we were talking to Guido, well done on grabbing that one, John. Duarte Benavente went out, poodled around the racecourse basically, and then retired. So I'm really not sure what that was all about, but
I'll go and run into the radio tent and get some info on that.
And he's kind of finished. He's 2-lap shootout after 1 lap. And in fact, the boat has now stopped and the canopy is up. So he obviously felt that he had a problem. Maybe he shut the engine down before he knew he was going to wreck the equipment, or maybe something else. We've already known that either Slactor has run out of fuel. Let's hope that wasn't the case. But certainly, where I'm standing, I'm looking at the stricken boat of Benavente. But we now move on to Nikita Leeks, who is next to go on the shootout. So Nikita Leeks then. He's already winding the boat up. So this looks much, much faster than Duarte and what he was doing. John's back. John, some news.
Yeah, Duarte Benavente trim issues, apparently.
Ah, right. That explains a bit of why he wasn't looking too hot on his run-in lap.
Yeah, I just spoke to David Moore, and he thinks that's the issue.
So one man with no trim issues is Nikita Leeks then, boat 71. Really doing well then, as I said, the new kid on the block, really. Let's see what the fast time's going to be. He's now at the top end of the racecourse, round the turn.
What do we fancy? Second fastest here for Nikita at the moment?
What? I'm going to go third fastest on the first lap, and then maybe second fastest. So we're looking roughly around about. We want to try and slot him in, then, don't we? Sort of a 46.85, perhaps, maybe. So Nikita Leeks then does actually go faster. He does a 46.94. It's pushed down Osterberg to third in this shootout, but
that's second fastest, isn't it?
Yeah. So 46.94 for Nikita Leeks. Let's see what lap 2 can provide for him. So across the top end of the course now, Nikita Leeks will have known he's gone fast. Let's see if he can go faster. Let's see if he can put that boat ahead of Zandbergen. And you can hear the engine now really beginning to wind up as we watch Nikita Leeks. And that's a great shot of Nikita as he comes across the start-finish line. And look at that, 46.62.
Quickest. Oh, that lad is good, isn't he?
He's worth keeping around, isn't he? 46.62 for Nikita Leeks. The guy who not so long ago was racing in a much, much slower class in the F4 class, but shining in Formula 2 as he did in F4.
Absolutely. Isn't it great to see someone come through like this, you know, a new name?
Very encouraging as well, you know, young superstars coming through in the making.
Absolutely. Another product of Latvia, which isn't too far away from us.
Yep, just round the corner almost. Well, it was about 3 hours away, I think, isn't it, from here?
I drove nearly there yesterday.
So Daniel Zegenmark in boat number 54. So let's talk about him, John. Let's see where he's going to fit into the mix of things. I don't know. Potentially he was faster than Nikita Leaks. Can he make that happen in this 2-lap shootout?
Well, what we're seeing is with Leaks, Zandbergen and Osterberg, they've all posted in the 46s, haven't they?
Yeah.
So they obviously, we've also seen temperature rise, the water's flattened off, the wind's gone.
Yeah.
We've almost got lake-like conditions now, haven't we?
Yeah, it's perfect conditions for this shootout for Q3.
I mean, if you think on the Q1 with the weather conditions, someone like Brent Dillard went out in race setup almost, you know, with the race prop, etc., because that's what they felt was going to do the job. Now, of course, you're going to be out with your quickest prop, etc., aren't you?
Yeah, and I do feel we're a little bit robbed. You know, I was looking forward to seeing Dillard in this, and that's what he trained for, wasn't it? He trained for the shootout mode.
Yeah.
But let's talk about second mark, and let's see what he can do. He's on the first of 2 flying laps at the moment. Let's see what he can post in. So second mark round the top end. This is the long straight to the start-finish line. The air right underneath the tunnel of the boat. Look at that, once again, as perfection. That boat set up perfectly down the straight.
And he posts the third quickest on a 46.87.
So that's 1 lap done and dusted. That time will be relayed to him as a driver from the radio crew, and let's see if he can perform and outstage that particular lap. Can he go faster?
And another driver doing a tour with a 46 in front of it.
And I'm wondering if that's why Rashid felt that he could go faster. Probably, I guess.
Yeah, and talking of Rashid, he's still not back to his boat. His 2 Abu Dhabi team mates are standing there holding it. But Rashid is, at the moment, nowhere to be seen.
He's playing it cool.
He absolutely is.
So second mark then goes past, and that was slower. That was a 47.25 for Daniel Segenmark. So he didn't quite improve, but still third fastest at the moment, but still the big ones to come.
Yeah, Cass, Pedersen, Hagen, and of course, 2017 UIM F2 World Champion.
So Tobias then, now he's going to be good in this shootout, I think. So can he be the first driver to go lower than the 46-second barrier, do you think? We know he's quick.
I think you're going to see definitely a 46-40, something like that, I think. 46-40, there we go. I'll stick my neck on the block.
And it is. So Tobias then, I thought he was going to start to wind that boat up super early there, but he shut all the power off really at the top, but now starts to wind up the power down towards us to start the flying lap. Takes it very, very wide at the top end of the race course, but this is to get maximum power, maximum speed out of the boat, or when he runs very close to the edge of the race course. But Tobias then will start this flying lap absolutely flat out. Let's see how clean he gets it out of the corner. So he lifts the boat. He keeps it fairly level, actually. We see one of the other drivers in one of the previous shootout laps lift the boat up too far. But Tobias all under control at the... at the top end of the racecourse then, Tobias Monfkas, what can he do with the time that benchmark set by Nikita Leaks at 46.62? Now, this could be a mighty lap. This is John's prediction of 46.40. Let's see if that actually happens in black and white in front of us. So let's watch as we watch Tobias now coming down towards us. He's gone faster, John. 45.72. What a lap.
Superb. So we're the first driver today to get into the 45s. That's Tobias Monfkas from Norway. 45.72, provisional pole position. Now this gets interesting.
It does, and we said that the quick men were waiting, and this is really going to be a super hot shootout lap.
Yeah. Now, we know Hagen is quick, but is he quick to do lower than 45.72? And, of course, Moncaf has still got another lap to put in.
I was going to say, can he beat this lap? Because he's coming down, he would have been told, I don't know if that's a good thing for a driver or not to be told your first lap, it probably is.
Yeah.
But let's see if it improves. It doesn't, it was a slower lap, 46.40.
He did enough, and that's a good day's work for him. He's now going to come back, sit it out, because he's still got 3 more drivers to go out there and set times.
So I guess in a worst case scenario, he's what, 4th on the grid?
Absolutely, he's done enough for 4th.
So that's not a bad start to a weekend, even if things are as they stand at the moment.
Yep. However, he's the first to have got into the 45s, and he's also done a 45.72, so it was a nicely impressive lap.
So next out, Ola Pedersen.
I think just the look on Guido Cappellini's face there was one of surprise.
Yep, he's going to be keeping his eye out then. So the smiley man from Sweden, Ola Pedersen, making it out onto the race course. Would have been told that Moncaf has gone fast. He needs to go faster. A few final thoughts, I think, then from Ola Pedersen just before he does 2 mighty quick laps around this racecourse here at Kaunas.
Now, finally, Rashid walks towards his 35 Abu Dhabi boat.
I think he's still quite chilled out there, isn't he?
Very much so.
Look at that. Right, let's wind it up then with Ola Pedersen coming down, and that boat is very, very much on the edge. A lot of that boat out of the water then as he comes through into the hairpin turn. He's on the limits, John, here.
He's a
pushing
beast, isn't he, Ola? An absolute beast.
It's that beard, you know, that does it.
Frightens me.
I think he's a Viking or something, but Ola at the top end of the racecourse. Let's see what happens here. Well, you predicted kind of right, really, I guess, with Moncaf. What can you predict with Ola here?
I'm suspecting he'll post 3rd quickest, I would have thought. Just going by where the positions have been in Q1 and Q2.
So the engine sounding really, really crisp then on Ola Pedersen.
And he posts actually 6th quickest. He's done a 47.34. Which is nowhere near.
Yeah, and actually really surprising. So I wonder where he's lost the time then.
Well, he has got a massive amount of hero trim going on, hasn't he?
So he's scrubbing a lot of speed off. Right, hero trims.
Yeah.
It's good to watch, isn't it? But it's not quick.
Yeah.
So Pedersen then needs to get it right this time, and I don't know if it was a bit of a mistake at the top there or not, but certainly a bit of a strange wash then, just coming out off the exit of the last but one turn.
We're coming up 18:31 local time here.
Thanks for staying with us if you're watching, and what you're watching now is Ola Pedersen complete the 2nd lap of 2. And where does that put him? It puts him 6th.
It was just a slower lap, 47.89 there against his 47.34. That's 6th behind, just in front of Owen Jelf. Owen posted a 48, the first one out there. But the man to beat, Tobias Moncaf, with a 45.72, and only 2 drivers now can beat him, Rashid Al-Khemzi and Stefan Hagen. And coming up next is Hagen.
Yep, and we know that this is a super quick boat then. As we were saying earlier, that kind of one-off really Molgard design underneath. Hagen.
Well, we were talking about him a lot in Q1, weren't we? But we were talking to some Germans last night who really think this is going to be his year. They've said we've seen flashes of his speed, over the last few seasons, but it looks, from their opinion, as if he has it all dialed in.
And that's good because it will mean it will gel together. And as you say, it's always good when it happens. It takes a few years to get there, but when it happens, then, well, let's see if you're right. Let's see what happens. Either way, he's still in a good position for tomorrow's race, isn't he? But let's see him dial himself in, and now he will begin to think about the next 2 laps as he now puts himself in the position. And another one who actually rides wide at the top then, drifts it out wide, runs very, very close to the edge. So Stefan Hagen then starts now the first of 2 flying laps at a super tight turn. Whether he scrubbed off too much speed or whatever, it's very loose there. Looks looking a bit scruffy, isn't it, John?
Yeah.
Just watching the picture.
Yeah.
So he's lost. That's not going to be a special lap, is it? He's going to have to do it on his second one.
Certainly doesn't look that way, does it? Perhaps our sources were incorrect. Our Germans were feeding us this
False information. That's not good.
No, we're going to have to frequent some different bars and nightclubs tonight for better information, I think.
Source a different format. But Stefan Hagen then round at the top, and he takes it fairly tight, actually, round at the run into the start-finish straight. So Stefan Hagen then coming down. I reckon this is a 47-second lap, I reckon, but let's see what wait. Hagen then, and I'm looking down, and
third,
yeah.
Posts to 46.63.
So not quite quick enough then.
Do you know, he's probably got it in him to post a second quickest time here.
Let's see how clean he gets it out of these next 2 corners. Well, that's 1 corner done and dusted. Now coming up to the next turn. Riding the boat a little bit high, a little bit loose going into the corner, but a nice clean turn, a nice exit then on the final run into the start-finish straight. Let's see if you're right. Let's see if we can put him into a second position spot. You've got it right on the head there. 45.87 for Stefan Hagen.
Yeah, he goes second quickest. Now, 1 more boat to go this evening. The pressure's on him, really. Rashid Al
found his way back to the boat. Look.
Yeah, they just given his helmet a little wipe, popped him in. He's off screen at the moment, and they're just pushing him out. He's just about to fire up his Optimax motor. The pressure's on. He's got to put in a quick lap. It's that simple.
Yeah, maybe there's too much pressure. Sometimes we've seen it before. Sometimes we've seen schoolboy errors happen.
I mean, Hagen and Munthkath have both posted in 48.87 and a 45.72. That might be a surprise to him. He told us earlier, obviously, he felt he was going to get a sub 46. Well, he definitely needs one now.
Yep, so he's put the pressure on himself a little bit. But I'm wondering, because we know that he's that fast anyway. I mean, he was a good second a lap quicker in the free practice earlier on this morning.
I'm just trying to build up the excitement for the viewers, Jason.
Of course, what they can't see is that the sun's shining now, and John's got his shorts on, so his legs are getting super hot.
Yeah,
no sunscreen.
Tanning now. It's incredible how the weather's changed. Wonderful. And just a couple of minutes away from that first cold one of the evening.
And it is. Well, you should moan about cold, because you've been cold all day.
Yes, indeed. Okay, so Rashid Al Kemzi, he's out there. He's out there on the track at the back end.
Has he got a sub 45 lap in him? I wonder. As we now watch him now begin to think about the next 2 laps, exits, and another one. This is obviously the way to do the shootout, was to run wide down towards the start-finish line.
Now, as he runs towards us, you're not going to believe this, but this wind has got up again.
Well, that was a very, very close to the turn. I thought it almost put it into the turn, boys, then, but...
But the other 9 boats have had absolutely mirror calm, perfect conditions. He's gone out there and we just had a gust of wind.
Yep, and this could be enough to actually wreck lap number 1. Let's wait and see then, as Rashid then round at the top. The long straight between turns 4 and 5.
I'm actually very excited to see this lap time pop up.
Well, I was excited to watch him exit the final turn down the straight then. So John's having a look at Rashid and the screen at the same time, because the boat's very loose, but it's also very flat.
Well, Abu Dhabi have obviously got better information than we have because they're clapping down there. They've obviously seen the lap time. We haven't had that as yet. We have now. He's done it. 45.46. He's got himself onto pole position.
And I wonder, he's not going to bother, is he, with a second lap? So
he just did what he had to do. He had 45.72 to beat. Just put a lap in. 45.46. Thank you very much.
Well, he is the man to beat here today and has been, and I think he could be the man of the weekend. Surely there's 20 or so other drivers to try and make that a little bit more difficult for him. But today...
Do you know, everything's impressed me about him. His attitude has been fantastic, the way he's gone about everything today. And then, look, he just goes out, he's got the pressure on him, he posts a perfect lap, and it's job has done us. And he's got pole position here for the Grand Prix of Lithuania, hosted by Kaunas. Jason, it's been absolutely great this afternoon talking to you. We're going to be back for the race tomorrow.
Yep, we are, and we'll be on time tomorrow. Of course, the Grand Prix, the first round of the UIM Formula 2 Championships World Series here in Lithuania. It's going to be a good one. The competition we've seen in qualifying here today, the excitement, the tension.
Yeah, we've got a great racing prospect tomorrow. I mean, Mundkath, Hagen, and then young Nikita. Then we'll all be challenging Al Kamsi. It's a absolutely cracking racing prospect for tomorrow afternoon.
And I think we're in store for another race prior to that with the repechage race with the big names, Dillard.
Which we won't be Facebook Live on.
No, but we'll watch it, I'm sure, side by side, and we'll have a look.
Absolutely. Jason, let's go and have a chat in the bar and leave these viewers to their evenings. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. This is John Moore and Jason Mantrip signing off from Kaunas.
Yep, thanks for watching, everybody, and see you all tomorrow.
Hello everyone, we're here with the top 3 drivers from qualifying. Stefan Agin just arrived third, Tobias Muntekas second, and Rashid Al-Kamzi who arrived first. It was very good qualifying session for all of you. You did very well in Q1, Q2 and Q3. So how was the water? What was the difference between Q1 and Q2? Was the condition very different?
Yeah, it varied towards the wind increased, and it was a lot easier to race here. So.
What about you? Did you have much difficulty in Q2 because the wind started getting very, very rough during Q2?
Yes, of course, and we were a lot of boats in Q2, so it's difficult to find a fast lap to go to top 10 for the shootout, but we managed to do it.
Okay, so good luck for tomorrow, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Rashid, congratulations, you did beautifully and you did perfect. First Q1, Q2 and Q3. What do you reckon it's going to be for tomorrow? Are you ready for the next challenge?
Yeah, I'm ready for tomorrow's race. Like always, I can start and do it for my team.
Okay. So, perfect. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank you.
I think so.